Oh man, it is good to be back. Ladies and gentlemen, everybody watching, welcome to another episode of InfoSec Unplugged. I am your grateful, humble, and dearly missed you guys host. That's not even a real sentence, but I am Davin Jackson, also known as D-Jax. Thank you for joining. You could be anywhere in the world on this Thursday, but you are here with me, and I greatly appreciate it. 1 second. Woo! Okay, so for those of you who don't know, InfoSec Unplugged is my show where I talk to guests from all over the tech and cybersecurity communities where we can talk about everything. We talk shop, we talk life, we talk about our career journeys, we talk about the highs, the lows, the ups and downs, and we just connect with everybody and just network and just be one big happy family, or as I like to call it, my wolf pack. So I've been gone for a few weeks, but I am back. I missed you guys, and we are back like we never left. And we are starting off, I guess you could call this the new season of InfoSec Unplugged, with someone who I have a great amount of respect for, someone who is highly knowledgeable in their field. They are also a fellow content creator on YouTube, and they're an adjunct professor. So, ladies and gentlemen, everyone watching, please welcome my guest. Oh geez, I have it misspelled over here. I got to fix this real quick. I can't be back live and messing up already. So, anyway, ladies and gentlemen, everybody watching, please help me welcome my guest, Professor Black Ops.
Thanks for having me.
What's going on, sir? Thank you for joining. So, like I said, it's been a long time coming. We've been chopping it up back and forth since I think the Christmas episode. So we've been trying to get you on, like I said, trying to get the schedules to line up, and we finally were able to make it happen. So I thank you for joining. Before we get started, why don't you tell the people who you are and talk about yourself a little bit.
My name is Professor Black Ops. I've been in cybersecurity for about 20 years. I've been IT for probably 30. So a little about my background. Like I said, I've been in cybersecurity for a very long time. Did you want me to just step into how I got in the field, or how do you want me to ease into that?
You know what? We can get right into it. So let's go right into the question. How did you get started?
I did the more traditional thing because I got my high school degree in '86, and I got my bachelor's in computer science in 1990, and I got my MBA in 1994. So I did the more traditional route. So I was a programmer for 15 years. I became a system analyst for about 5. I've been a DBA. I've been a manager of web server and app server. Then I got into computer security. So that's basically kind of a roundabout way how I got in the field. So just kind of leading off into that. So the big discussion, I think you and a lot of your other interviewers, and we've been talking about in the sector, is it college degrees or certifications now? So that's kind of going back and forth. When I first started about 5 years ago, I was strictly degrees. If you ain't got a degree, you ain't in the game. But now I'm maturing, I'm getting better. I see guys making moves with certification. So now I say both, right? Because that's been one of the huge discussions in the field. So either way, as long as you get in the field, as long as you pay your dues, you just need to get in the field. So that with certs or degrees, however you get in the field, just make it happen.
All right. So before we get into it a little bit more, again, I want to thank everybody for joining. I know it's been a couple weeks off, but if you guys are here, please share the link. Let everybody know that we are back live. We are on YouTube and Twitch, thanks to Restream. And I also want to thank a couple of the sponsors. So first, I want to thank Udemy. Udemy is an online training platform that has over 100,000 courses. You can learn just about anything from cybersecurity to programming to basket weaving to cake sculpting to, I don't know, even making puppets or something. I don't know, but if you think it, Udemy has it. So please go check them out. And you can also go on and check out Webroot. Webroot's a cybersecurity, basically antivirus program that is I say it's affordable. It's a lot cheaper than some of the other competitors out there, and it's also a really good one to use. You can use it just about on any device, and like I said, it protects everything, and it's setup is simple. And also, our official sponsor for this episode is Security Sherpa by Hailbites, and we're going to get into that a little bit shortly. But shout out to them for officially sponsoring the first episode back. So, Professor, we talked about how you got started. We talked about your thoughts on certs versus in degrees. But let's talk about the fact that you're a real professor. So this isn't just a YouTube handle. This isn't like a tag name. Like, you are legitimately a professor. So why don't you talk about that and how what you're teaching and how you got into actually teaching?
Okay. So let everybody know my main job, I'm actually in computer security. I'm actually an adjunct professor at a local college. That's kind of was my give back. A lot of people go to local colleges when they got a GED, they're just starting, they didn't get the top grade. So I thought that was a good give back. So I do have a master's degree in an MBA with an emphasis on information programming. So that's how I got into teaching cybersecurity. So what I teach is introduction to computer security and forensic analysis. So when you get hacked, forensic and intro. So I really enjoy teaching intro because that's when students are first getting in. So we can talk about the various jobs in IT. Everybody think every job is super technical. I say I work with a lot of non-technical people that really don't have technical skills. They're compliance managers. They do that. We got a security project manager, right? So every job in computer security is not super technical, right? So now I see couple of people in the chat. My job now is to work with the older people because they still saying if you don't have a degree, they won't hire you. I worked with jobs where they said if you don't have a 4-year degree, we won't even look at a person. So now I'm trying to get them to understand certifications are a positive way, especially we putting a 4-year person and a person in a certificate in the same entry level position. We're going to end up training them how we want to do security anyway. So I tell people we got to get that bias away. Let's get more inclusive too. Because I think that's the way to cut a lot of people out. So Let's interview them. Let's check them out. Because a lot of people, certifications are really hands-on. It's a lot of people with 4-year degrees are just paper tigers. They ain't ever rolled up their sleeve and did anything really. Right. So let's be real about it. So that's one of the things I try to push at the job. Let's look at people. Let's don't say, if you ain't got a 4-year degree, you ain't legitimate, right? So let's try to look at everything and get everybody involved.
Right. And I think, and we're just going to kind of go back to the certs versus degrees thing. I think it works both ways. Right. So, to your point, yeah, there are a lot of jobs in tech and cybersecurity that aren't technical, and still have the title technical in it. For example, technical writer, right? You don't have to have any hands-on skills whatsoever. You just need to have the soft skills to communicate, written and verbal. A lot of the times, and I'm not knocking my fellow professionals in the field, like my brothers and sisters and people in the field. But a lot of us are introverted, right? A lot of us, a lot of us are introverted. A lot of us like to do the hands-on stuff, but then don't want to necessarily get in front of the board or get in front of the crowd and talk about it. Then you have those who are, we're like me or like you, that's kind of doing the stuff on the shows, doing the content and everything. And then you have people who are, the people who are out there that are going out to these conferences and stuff like that. There's a space for everybody. To the second point, people can be paper certified either on either side, right? You can have people who have 4-year degrees or even master's degrees and think just because they have a master's degree in computer science, or they may have a specialty in computers and technology or security, that they should be get into the bag immediately right out for college. And then you have people who have all these letters behind their names for the different certifications, but that's just because they study and test well. They don't necessarily know how to apply anything. So usually what I end up telling people is, especially if you're getting into something like penetration testing, where your skills is what gets you paid. Like, yeah, the certifications are cool, but your hands-on skills is going to be what, what puts you aside from everybody else. Make sure you understand everything. Just because you have the certification that says you know it, make sure you really know it. And when I say make sure you know it, make sure you know why the vulnerability is a vulnerability, why the exploit worked or why it didn't work. What's going on behind the scenes. You don't necessarily have to get into the weeds and be a super elite hacker or super elite programmer, but you have to know enough to understand what's going on. Like, you can't just say, I push this button, ran this scan, ran that Metasploit, and poof. Like, a lot of, some training companies will have you believe that that's what it is. But, there's a lot more to it. So, like I said, getting the education is crucial, but getting that hands-on, you have to find that balance. So, before we do that, I just want to, again, welcome everybody in from the chat. Thank you guys again. If it wasn't for you, I wouldn't be here doing this. You guys make it possible, especially during this time off and everything that's been going on. If you guys have been following what's been going on with me, I've made certain transitions and changes in my life. I left where I was employed. I started looking for other employers. There was one potential employer that everything looked like it was really working out. And then they actually wanted me to stop doing all of this. And as you can see, we're here. So you know how that went.
No 360 deals.
Yeah,
no 360 deals.
On one of my other streams, we talked about in the music industry, they used to, everybody talks about how they don't get paid in the music industry. You get paid by doing shows and appearances and stuff like that. And then what the music label started doing was creating these 360 deals where they got a cut of everything. And that's basically what everybody was telling me. Like, nah, don't take the 360 deals. But like I said, I'm here. I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to have Professor Black Ops here, and I'm happy to have my wolf pack right behind me. So, we're going to get right into, the next questions about, challenges being faced, and some other things that Professor Black Ops works on and talks about on his channel. But first, we got to get a word from our official sponsor for InfoSec Unplugged. This is Hailbytes, and this is their new product, Security Sherpa. So make sure you go and check that out. And I'm going to go right into the commercial. So let's do it. What's up, everybody? It's DJax here from Alpha Cybersecurity and InfoSec Unplugged. And I'm here today to talk to you about my friends over at Hailbytes. Hailbytes is a cybersecurity firm that provides on-demand security, infrastructure, and awareness training to companies and businesses of all sizes. Their mission is to turn your employees into cybersecurity warriors and to protect your organizations from the most common and most damaging cyber attacks. They achieve this in many ways. Some of them are their online security training courses, phishing simulations, and their newest product, Security Sherpa. Security Sherpa is an online training environment that trains your team to build secure applications by giving them first-hand experience of real-world vulnerabilities. Not only will you learn about what makes them vulnerable, you'll also learn how to exploit them and how attack vectors work in the real world. The training modules range from beginner to seasoned professional with modules like Capture the Flag, Open Floor, and even tournaments where teams can compete against one another. Security Sherpa can be used to assess, improve, and report on application security skills across your team without the need for long courses. Best of all, it's powered by AWS, so you can start your training for one or several team members within minutes. If you think Security Sherpa is right for your team, just click the link below in the description, and you can try it free for 14 days. Just click the link and you'll get started right away. Again, this is DJax from Alpha Cybersecurity and InfoSec Unplugged telling you to go check out Hailbytes and check out their new product, Security Sherpa. Take care. Why are we doing commercials now?
Shout out to the red team. Shout out to the red team.
Oh, man, yes. Shout out to Hailbytes and, Security Sherpa. Please go check it out. Just a quick disclaimer, I don't sponsor or do anything that I don't necessarily know. So, I've checked the product out myself, and, it definitely is, a really great training platform. So click that link. Quick disclaimer, yes, any sponsors that I do support here, any of the revenue does go back to supporting the show. So now that we got that out of the way, please don't let that stop you from supporting a great product. So, Professor Black Ops, with your 30 years in the field, what are some challenges that you have faced in the past or that you still face? Just being, in this.
Um, my challenges are, since I'm getting a lot older. Takes a lot of people know I'm in my 50s, so I got challenged a lot of times when I was younger. People want to make sure you belong into the room, so people would have tried to challenge me intellectually, right? But I'm up for that. I'm about this game. I'm about this life. So when people challenge me, I take it seriously, very seriously. So a lot of times when you step in, especially when you're new and you try to step into a management position or to a new team and you're different than the other people, they want to make sure you really know what you say you know, and I really know what I say I know. So I think those are kind of some of the challenges I still get every now and then. Not as loud as I used to. The weird thing is I'm in management rooms a lot. So I'm in rooms with lawyers, CIOs, and presidents now. Because since I do federal compliance, we talk a lot about risk, right? So when you're in those rooms, people want to say, why do you belong in this room? So sometimes you got to prove why you belong in that room, right? So I have certifications. I worked at DOD. I worked at pharmaceuticals. I worked at government agency. I've been consulting for 20 years. So let me show you why I belong in this room. So um, for me, I don't know, maybe because I'm a pessimist, I expect people to challenge me when I walk in the room. So I'm walking in stretching like, let's get this on. I'm about this life. So if you want to do it, let's do it. But remember, when you started, I'm a finisher. So let's go, right? So if we don't talk about NIST, STIGs, FISMA, HIPAA, OSHA, we can do it. Let's do it. So um, that's kind of it, kind of a high level. And I just tell younger people I talk to, don't be mad, don't get insulted, just be ready.
Yeah.
That's what you grind for. That's what you say. That's what you study for. Get hell bites ready, right? Get on that so we can get ready, right? So that's what it's about, right? So that's kind
Yeah.
of it for me. Like I said, I'm in my 50s now, so I've done all this small stuff. So
No, I hear you, but this goes back. Hold on, and shout out to JB who said dropping that 853 knowledge.
we can do that. I'm all about them security families. I
Yeah.
love that stuff.
But yeah, but that goes back to my point earlier about this is why you need to know what you know outside of
Facts.
what the certifications tell you. If
Facts.
you can't speak to it at a high level in a realistic sense, then what good is having a CISSP if you're not going to know what it's used for?
The
But
crazy thing is, I'm gonna jump in. Is I get a lot of CISPs calling me because since I worked at DoD, you had to have one. But like you said, a lot of those guys don't roll up their sleeves. So like
yeah,
I've done Tomcat for 10 years. I've done Apache. I've been a Java programmer for 10 years. So when you got to do those compliance checks, I've done those for real. They read about them.
hmm now you were talking about the different compliances and stuff like that, and you were talking about STIGs. And
Mm-hmm.
when I was posting this earlier, somebody was talking about, well, what are STIGs? So I figured that's going to be a great
Oh
question
yeah.
for Professor Black Ops. So, what are STIGs?
So STIGs at a high level is an agency called Defense Information System Agency. It's actually a government agency. STIGs are actually Security Technical Implementation Guidelines. What that is specifically is when you have a database, those are specific checks that go on that database. So if you have an Oracle database, which I was doing checks today on, there's 305 checks that goes on an Oracle database to make it FISMA compliant. Right. So there's three type of checks. There's high, medium, and low, right? So when you put those checks on, that's how you do an assessment of your system. So when you have your normal system, right, you're going to have a web server, app server, database, some Bastion servers, Active Directory, right? So the STIG has a check for each one of those technologies. So when I talk to blue team members, I say, how do you validate that your system is secure? They go, well, I have these checks. What checks are you doing? What compliance are you doing? So when I say the STIGs say these checks go on there, then I can say, okay, what checks are open? What checks did you do mitigated control? Then I can see what's the posture of your system. Then I can tell management how risky that system is. Right? So now we talk about federal compliance. That's what I based my YouTube channel on, and I didn't really see anybody really doing that a lot of. I saw one guy kind of do a combo courses. He's more on the management side. I'm more on the what's this check on this database. Like you said, we're gonna roll our sleeves up, right? And let's get into this config file. What are the settings in here to say you're secure, right? And when you do a small system, it's going to be, hey, Gabe, stop hating on the sticks, Gabe. So when you do a small system, it's going to be about 3,000 checks, right? Let's roll up our sleeves. We're going to get our big boy pants on because you're trying to get certified from the government. So my job is I try to help, especially allow small minority vendors say, I want to do a pro system for DOD and AWS. You got to have 1,000 sheets of paper for that, man. The system security plan is going to be about 600 pages, right? No. So that's what I'm trying to bring to community. What's a little different, right? And Gabe is right. Most people hate STIGs, and that's how I make my money. Let me help you be great, Gabe. Let me help you be great, Gabe. That's my job, right? So I'm gonna come in. And I'm old school. I got a Rolodex, which now is a cell phone. I got 10 people on speed dial that can do Linux, Oracle, SQL Server, Active Directory. So I tell people, when you hire me, you get another 20 people for free. I got people that owe me favors, right? So let's do it, man.
but that's what's up. You know what? And I think to Gabe's point, shout out to Gabe. Definitely. A lot of people don't like getting into, the STIGs and the SysCat and policies and GRC, and that's a lane.
It's a hard lane. It's a hard lane. That's when you talk about getting the bag. That's how you can get the bag.
Yeah.
Let's get rid. You can get the bag when you're in that lane.
I mean, you find a need and you create the solution, right? And that right. So, and one of the solutions, and you just touched on it, is your YouTube channel. So, I mean, you talked about, that's what you talk about on your stuff. But if you want to kind of get into it a little bit, flex on what's going on with your YouTube channel and everything, go for it.
Yeah, I just started the last 4 months. He's been motivating me. The queen in there, Person Center Cyber is the queen in there. So that'll motivate me to help me get my channel up. So I have 3 lanes on my channel. One thing I try to do is just for basic people, I just try to do news, kind of what's happening. OnlyFans got hacked, so if you're trying to find some free pictures, you can go out there and look at that, man. My fault, I couldn't resist. So the crazy thing, that's my highest viewed video.
But of course it is.
Right. Then the second lane is, let's talk about STIGs. I did one on Windows 95. I think there was 297 checks. So I went over like 10 of the cat ones. Then the big thing is that everybody's talking through is, how does that fall into zero trust? When you put those into your PC and you're trying to do zero trust, how do you make that PC with the STIGs fit in zero trust? Right? So then the third thing is, what I'm going to try to do more is society. Like I just read the FBI got a court order and start patching people's server. I'm like, I think that's an overreach. Don't be patching my server, FBI. You got to come and get that cleared with me. I know you're trying to help society, but I think that's overreach. So those are the 3 things. Like I said, just news to kind of get regular people, then get the STIGs, which, the people want to get dirty. There's some society stuff like the FBI. I think they're overreaching. The digital divide, right?
Man, that's right. Go on. I'm gonna let you finish. That's the
digital divide. And 2 is, like I tell my students, privacy, right? Do you like the FBI looking at your email? Yes or no? If the question is no, don't get mad at the FBI when they can't catch the terrorists. You don't magically catch people so that's the choice. So I tell my students, you're young, you got to vote on that. That's why people like me as a professor. I don't just talk about little exercise. So that's what we're going to talk about. That's your future. I'm old. I'm about done. So what reaching do you want the government to sign off on? You the future. Okay, let's get real.
Let's talk about it. Okay, so first of all, Person-Centered Cyber, Cheryl. Hey, how you doing? How you doing? And tell the doc I said hello as well.
Shout out to the doc.
Yes. She said, I have a newfound respect for the STIGs. They're not addressed enough in cybersecurity training. Hi, all. Yes. And JB Cyber Insight says automation makes it a bit less painful. Like I said, there's a lane. There is a lane. Like I had Marcus J. Carey on a while back, and he talked about, learn how to write the code and automate it. So now you have the lane with the STIGs and you have the lane with the automation.
Right, Puffit and Chef is on my menu. I'm getting my Puffit and Chef on. So, I'm right there with you.
But to your point, for one, the FBI overreaching. Like my logical conspiracy theory brain, right? Because that's a whole other conversation. And if you haven't, please go check out. Not that they're not paying me, but go check out the Q into the rabbit hole thing from the documentary on HBO Max. It was real interesting, but my conspiracy theory brain is a little bit more less far fetched. But it leads me to think that if the FBI is going in to say we're patching your stuff, from a pen testing perspective, we're always taught persistence and to always leave a back door.
Right. They said they're closing the back door, but go ahead. They said they're closing the back door from the web shell.
They closing the back door, but they still keep the key.
Bingo.
And not only did they keep the key, they made a copy of the key. So when they handed back your key and say, "Oh yeah, you're good," they got their key. But like I said, let's not.
Yeah, I don't want to get you banned, man.
Yeah.
I want to get you banned.
Look, I know. I done fought to keep this going. So let's not lose it that fast. But,
gotta get me the comment. So hold on. So those are the things I talk about my students. So let's bring some real world stuff in to talk about. The other thing I like to bring up is the ransomware. So if you're the president of a hospital, are you going to pay the ransomware? Or are you going to let people die in your hospital because you can't check the people in?
Okay. Look, slow down, because I was still dissecting the privacy question about if you don't want the government into your stuff, then don't get mad when they can't get the terrorists, right?
It was your background music. It got me hyped. I was excited when I came up. Your background music is fire. I'm ready. I'm ready to go.
Oh man, I appreciate it. But yeah. So I mean that's a good debate, and I wish I would have had that question in there, but that's an interesting debate because on one hand you have people who's like, I don't need the government overreaching and looking at everything, right. And then you have the counterpoint that is, okay, well they can't do their job to catch terrorists, right? Then you have then it gets fuzzy where it's like, well, terrorists they're in another country or they're radicalized, but then you also have the counter argument, well, how do you know they're radicalized if they're not monitoring? So it's very interesting. Furthermore, the other thing that and you're older, I'm not where you're at yet, but I'm from a different era where you don't have to worry about people telling on you because you're telling on yourself with the oversharing y'all doing on social media anyway. Right. So so it's like the people y'all are complaining about the government looking at all your stuff, but I don't need to know what you had for breakfast 3 days ago either. So it's very interesting, and I think we do need to find a common ground because there isn't.
It's by age. The weird thing is, when you look at my class, everybody over 40 usually goes, I'm not hiding anything. But the younger generation who shares everything online is like, I don't want the FBI looking at my email. So that's the weirdest thing. So when I usually do it, and two is it's usually broken down by race. A lot of black people, like, they're not feeling authorities.
Right.
So it's weird. So I try to bridge all that gaps by having those type of conversations. So why does this side of the room don't want to deal with the police? Why does this side of the room, how y'all feel about it? Let's talk about it from a historical background perspective.
But then that goes to the different eras, because again, in certain eras, and I still live by it, you don't put certain things on the internet. It's called self-incrimination. You get what I'm saying? So it's like, there you go. JB says, he goes, I think you have the ethical principle perspective of privacy, and then right. But I agree that like ethically is fine, and then you have the overreach, and then you have the situations like
But let's even back it up. Don't even talk about incriminating yourself. Why are you having your family beefs on the internet? I'm like, y'all really are on Facebook?
Right.
I'm like, dude, I would never do that. But you've seen people do that.
Right.
So people under 30, they don't care.
Right. No, that's real. So it's like, yeah, it's like you share everything and then say, I don't want you in my business, but you're putting your stuff out there. Where, like I said, I'm from the era where I'm not going back and forth on
Facts.
any
Facts.
communication medium.
Facts.
I'm going to come see you and we're going to talk about it, or we're going to, we're going to get to the end of it. Oh, so, and then the second part, you have the actionable, JB says, you have the actionable perspective of it's so much data, they really can't be looking at everybody's stuff. No, that's true. That's true. So it's almost like, yeah, if you give them reasonable, reason to suspicion, right? Then I guess. But again, it has to be ethical. So, and then let's see, Project 5000 says that's the reality TV model. Yeah, that is that's
Facts.
I think, yeah, reality TV and stuff they see on the internet made it okay to put this information out there for likes or for clout or whatever it is you want to call it. But you can't do that and then be mad when the wrong people are the people who you didn't intend to look at your stuff, look at your stuff. Like, I work closely with people who work in law enforcement, and they're like, criminals have no idea how much easier they're making a lot of our jobs, because the first place they go is, okay, what's their name, what's their nickname, and what's their Instagram, what's their Snapchat, what's their this and that, and they put the stuff out there. So it's like, you can't be mad at that and then ask, you can't do stuff like that and then ask for privacy. All right, so I don't want to get too much into that debate. So now to your second point.
My fault.
To your second point, you can speak on that one.
Ransomware? Was it ransomware?
Yeah. Oh yes, the ransomware.
So that's why I asked my students. I said, so when you become a CISO and you have ransomware, are you going to pay the criminal $40,000 to give you the key to unlock your disk? The disk your admin and do a backup of, so we can just restore the backup. So let's take that out. We don't have the proper stuff we need. So are you going to let people not come into your hospital? You could possibly let somebody die, or you're going to pay $50,000. So who are you supporting? Are you supporting the people or the bad guy? Right? Mm-hmm. So I'm usually about 70-30 now. So some people say, well, I would never want to pay the bad guy. And I go, dude, let's think logically. You got hospital patients, doctors, shareholders. You didn't even talk about your shareholders. You got to make your earnings for this quarter. You about to get fired, young man, trying to be cute. Now, what's your answer again? I need you to think about that, right?
Right. So I think, and again, I think people follow what they see and what they read, and not really know the ins and outs, right? So, for example, that's that we don't negotiate with terrorists. Stop it. Y'all don't negotiate with terrorists. Your back channels do.
Facts.
Right?
Facts.
Okay. Now y'all can get mad at me, but look it up. And as far as not paying the ransom, hospitals and corporations have insurance. They have cybersecurity insurance and cybersecurity lawyers. What do you think they're doing? If they can't come to a resolution, you're not paying the ransomware, but sometimes your lawyers or your representatives are. So it's kind of like, yeah, you never want to pay the ransom, because yes, now you're empowering them, right? But in that same situation, if you're in the time we're in now with COVID, hospitals are overfilled. People are on respirators. If they get the ransomware or they do something to your systems that can jeopardize, and now you're already losing people at a high rate, and now you risk losing people at an even faster rate because you didn't do your due diligence. Not only are you going to deal with loss of life, you're going to deal with loss of income, loss of public trust, loss of possibly being in business when all the lawsuits come that they find out it was because of your negligence.
Bingo.
That their loved one died. Right. So,
and HIPAA, people don't realize HIPAA, you can Google that. If you're negligent, they got 4 levels or 5 levels of flying. If you're negligent, I think it's $1,024 a record.
Yes.
A record if you're negligent for HIPAA. So you got to make sure you are correct.
So this is what I'm talking about. It's like, So if you, yeah, they Gabe, there you go. Gabe said it right here.
Yeah,
Gabe says many CISOs have a ransomware budget. They do,
they should.
and they just and they just don't talk about it,
Right.
right? They don't
And,
they don't talk about it.
And to throw one other thing in there, that's when your incident response teams come in, right? So that's a whole nother section of cybersecurity. You just usually have an incident response team that's going to talk about how do you handle it? How do you notify HIPAA? How do you notify? You might have to notify the state. There's certain states that if you lose 1,000 records, you got to let the governor know so they can let the constituents of their state know. So your incident response team is going to know all of that.
Yeah, right. Or you put the money in the damn budget to begin with to properly secure your stuff.
Facts.
You know, it amazes me now that attacks. I mean, it's not surprising because with everybody working from home and everybody just being at home in front of their computer, people have more time to leverage these type of attacks and exploits. So I'm not surprised on that aspect that the number of attacks are increasing. But I'm surprised that with the number of attacks and the high profile of all of these leaks, right? That these companies won't smarten up. Like the bottom line is that important to you that you're still skimming on the budget to properly secure your stuff. And then when y'all get hit, oh, we were surprised. And then it's like I was having a conversation one place and they were just having a conversation about the security or lack thereof. And I made a statement I said, well, I don't think it's a matter of if you get hit. And they try to cut me off. We know it's a matter of when, right? I said, I'm not even going to say it's a matter of when. I think it's a matter of when you find out.
Facts. Half the time. They're in your system for at least a year.
Half the time they're in your system for at least 6 months, right? Yeah. Or at least 180 days. Right. And 9 times and I forgot the percentage. So if anybody in the pack knows, please enlighten me. But not only are they in your system for at least 6 months, most of the time it's not an IT person, it's not a security person who finds it. It's a low-level worker, customer service representative, noticing that something's a bit glitchy or why was this file here and now it was moved there. Someone that just happened to pass through and take a glance at the logs because the logs, the alerts weren't set properly. So it's like, why aren't you guys shoring up your stuff? And then when when you have people on your staff who security focused, you shoot them down. Right? Oh, we don't want to do that. Again, it goes back to the convenience versus security. Mm-hmm. It's more convenient to just push out an app before actually testing it and doing that. You know, it makes me sick to my stomach that it's like you do that and then you expect the public to just forgive you and it's like, oh, my bad. We moved to the cloud, but we didn't actually have someone who was qualified in the cloud, and we have unsecure S3 buckets on the open internet. My bad.
Shout out to Anonymous.
Yes, I see. That was for you, Anonymous. That was for you. Oh, I'm sorry. Azure doesn't call it buckets. What do they call them? It's like something like storage.
I'm an AWS guy. I'm getting better at it.
I'm trying to learn it. Anonymous has inspired me.
I got one more thing to throw out, and we're gonna leave this topic alone. This is
okay. Let's go.
Your Ring doorbell, right? If you Google Ring, there's a partnership with your sheriffs in 26 states. So if you register with the sheriff with your Ring, they pay half your bill. But as you walk in front of your neighbor's house, your face is being streamed to the sheriff department. So when they need to do their facial recognition, all that data is on AWS, right?
Well, wait. How about they're registering them in some of these gated suburban communities?
Oh, without a doubt.
They have a network.
Without a doubt.
They for one, they have their own social media platform.
Right.
If you don't believe me, go Google Nextdoor. Go and Google the Nextdoor app. And Nextdoor is the funny thing is Nextdoor is probably the most subtly toxic social media app that I've seen. Like you think Facebook gets bad, or like some of these neighbors, it's like Desperate Housewives for real.
Oh yeah, they don't have none of that.
But I don't want to go on that tangent. But they set up these networks where they're not only are they doing that, everybody's Ring doorbell, you can see see someone else's Ring doorbell. So it's almost like, oh, there's someone suspicious looking in my neighborhood. Here, take a look at my doorbell, and then they bring up their doorbell so you can see like you're being followed as you walk by house to house.
So is that a violation of your privacy since you didn't okay them watch you walk down the street or pull up to your cousin's house?
Right. Do you have to sign? Do you have to sign an NDA because when you go visit a neighborhood that you've never been to before? Like it's interesting. It really is. And then you have, and then there's all these little loopholes behind these laws and rules. First of all, most of these cyber laws, they're heavy-handed with the punishments, but then there's little loopholes. So, for example, you have the right, like I can't remember the gentleman's name, but I was in a talk with him. But you have the right to remain silent. But if you have your thumbprint unlock your phone, is it wrong if they push your finger against your phone to unlock your phone?
I think it is. They finally ruled on that, but I need to go back. It's been a couple years. We debated that in class. So, but those are some of the things like from a privacy perspective, I talk to my students about, because I tell them those are the stuff y'all have to vote on, right? Y'all have to figure out if y'all want that to happen. Most people don't know that's happening though, so they're like, we didn't know that was happening. Right. That's the last thing. I got one more, and I'm gonna leave it alone.
Wait. So before we do that, so Ty says, look up Ring on Shodan and then see them pop up. Yeah. So Shodan, if you don't know, Shodan is like the Google for devices. Yeah. And then Project 5000 says there is an expectation of privacy at home. Project 5000, I agree with you, but I also think you should put a quotation mark. There is an expectation of privacy, because what happens is, there's an expectation of privacy, but if you're on social media and let's say you keep your location on, now you're geotagging. Right. And the problem is people don't read the fine print when they come out with these new agreements every 3 to 6 months. It's like, hey, just to keep using the app, just agree to it. And you're agreeing to it. And if you actually look, I want to say a few years ago, it was either Facebook or Twitter. But they were basically classified as a public bulletin board. And you're a professor, I guess they got the idea from college, where they have these things like public bulletin boards. Yeah. So when you post on public bulletin boards, the key word there is public. So so basically every time you hit send on Twitter, on Facebook, on Snapchat, on Instagram, every time you do it, you're basically renewing your contract that says you do not have an expectation to privacy once you hit send. This is why they tell you, be very mindful about what you post on the internet, because once you hit send, it's gone forever. Now, yes, there are certain laws like, revenge porn and stuff like that. But if you post something out there that you have no business posting, that's on you, because you agreed to it by hitting send that you don't have an expectation of privacy. So, here we go. KevTech IT support says the laws are insane over here in New York. Yeah, it's interesting.
New York is a different
I'm originally from the Northeast. I'm from Connecticut, so I know. This opens up another conversation about Tony Hawk. All right, Anonymous, we're gonna get to that, and we're gonna get to that one later.
Last one on that note is.
Hold on, wait. Let me just get through these real quick. They should be required to put you on notice, not just click through. No, they do put you on notice. It's you that agrees to it when you agree to joining the app. The internet is designed for communication and sharing. We can't fight the design. We have to work with it to enable security and privacy. Absolutely.
Facts.
And then Ty says, wouldn't the phone be an extension of home? Believe it or not, depending on the state you live in, yeah. Believe in the state. I mean, shoot, I've seen, in some states, like your car is an extension of your home, right? And this is this is how they get in some of these southern states, the southern red states, and I'm not trying to get political. That's how people skirt not having to get a pistol permit, because the distance between your house and your car is considered okay, and your car is considered an extension of your home, and in your home you're allowed to have a weapon without a permit. So if you keep it in your car, right now, these are little loopholes and stuff that people have told me along the way. If I'm wrong or whatever, please enlighten me. But these are little things that I've learned in different states that I've visited. All right, so now, yes, you have one more,
and I think Anonymous brought this up, is all those clouds. If the police or the FBI gives them a warrant, they will give over their information. And I think if you Google it, Amazon was getting something like 50,000 warrants a year that the police and the FBI was bringing to them. So the other part that brings that up is when you do a DNA test to look up your heritage, the FBI was doing warrants of that. So when they were bringing up DNA, if your cousin did something that's close to your DNA, the FBI is going to come and see you because you gave your DNA to figure out your heritage. And if you Google that, they are doing warrants, and a couple people actually ended up in murder trials to get one of their relatives, though. So I wouldn't think I would be in a murder trial just because I was doing a DNA test.
Well, didn't what was it, the Golden State Killer or something like
That's
that?
That's it. Bingo.
Yeah,
good memory with the Golden State Killer.
Yeah, then the Golden State Killer, he got caught because of like My 23 or whatever it is.
Yep, it was My 23. His cousin had their DNA, so their DNA was close to theirs. So they went to their cousin's house because they knew that was their relative, and they just kind of brought up his family tree and figured out who it was from. I think it was 23andMe.
Yeah,
so
23andMe. Yes.
So you got to be careful with your privacy from that perspective.
No, yeah, I mean, but again, that's something that they have in that fine print that basically says, yeah, we keep all of your DNA. We like, why do you need to keep my DNA records in your database, or you know what I'm saying, on your servers? Do the family tree, I don't know, 6 months.
Well, the reason I say they keep it is if your cousin wants to find you, they need your DNA to track it.
Yeah,
theoretically, but I hear what you're saying. I'm with you.
Yeah,
I'm not doing it. Fine.
Or to Project 5000's point, let them renew it. There should be something that says, hey, it's been okay every 90 days or every 180 days. Do you wish to continue letting us keep your stuff on file? Then that's to the person, that's to the customer, the person's discretion to say, yeah, that's fine. So now this way, again, you're now, and I'm I might be fumbling the bag for somebody, but
I feel you.
If you give it to the customer to give it to their discretion of saying, yes,
opt in, opt out.
I'm continuing to opt in. Cool. By you doing that, now you're agreeing that you don't have an expectation to privacy.
Right.
So now you're protected. So now if your stuff gets hit, you can't. You're legally protected. Nope. They signed this here. They signed this during this time where they opted in. Now, if they opt out and their stuff gets got in the time frame where they were supposed to opt out, now it's cut and dry. It makes it so much easier. There's no more gray area. It's okay. We got hacked in March. You opted in during this time period, so you were in the opt-in period. Or we got hacked in June. You opted out, and your record still got hit.
Right. No, I agree. But that's what I'm talking about. That's my last privacy. But yeah, that privacy, like I said, I like doing that for my students because that kind of gets to thinking of a different part of cybersecurity that plays a major role. So
yeah, no, it like I said, it's definitely it's interesting, and like I said, I think that goes for another conversation. Like that we could have a whole. I think we need to get a panel and have a whole conversation.
I'm gonna invite you to my panel because I got a lawyer showing up. We're gonna talk about privacy, digital divide, a lot of things in that area. So
That's
I'll send some out to see if you're available.
that's what's up, because I mean, because you know what? Because again, I think we need to take the conversation we were having earlier about different eras.
Mhm.
We need to take some of that, and I get it, and I'm not trying to hinder people's law enforcement or investigations, right? But we need to take some of that era and instill it into our children. And I'm not talking about people who are doing dumb stuff. If you doing dumb stuff and you whatever, then by all means, whatever. But like for example, like I have conversations with my kids all the time about oversharing. And do you think that's okay? I mean, I explained OSINT to my daughter the other day, where there were these kids, they were they were doing their little dance or whatever in front of a sign. And I was explaining to her, I said, now, not for nothing, like, and it sounded like in passing, because we were in public, it sounded like they were talking tough, right? And I was explaining to her, okay, so you see how they're talking like they're trying to pick trouble with somebody or whatever, and they're doing it on the app. For one, that's stupid because you're doing it on the app, and now that's evidence. But two, you're doing that and not knowing that you're giving up your location. And so my daughter goes, how? I said, well, for one, look at that sign behind them, right? She goes, right. I said, okay, if you take a picture of that sign and put it into Google,
Right.
what do you think's going to happen? Google Maps is going to look it up and whatever. I said, okay. And then I explained to her what happened to the rapper Pop Smoke, rest in
Right.
peace. Where I explained to her how, because they like my daughter, like they went shopping and they're taking pictures of their bags, and I'm like, this is what happened to him. He went out to LA, he took pictures of where he was shopping, he took pictures of the house he was staying at, and I think he took pictures of some stuff getting shipped to him with the address on it. Somebody on the internet saw it, ran up on the house, robbed them, and unfortunately he lost his life in the robbery. So I was explaining to my daughter, I said, and so she was like, well, isn't that illegal? I said, the crime is illegal, but looking up all of that stuff on the internet was not. She said,
Right.
why? So, which goes back into that you have no right to privacy. And how OSINT works is, as long as it's on public resources, I can obtain as much information as I want. What I do with it is where the law
Right.
kicks in. So I was explaining that to them, and it's like, I think we need to, some of the old heads need to go talk to some of these pups about, do you think that's a good idea to say that, or do you think that's a good idea? Because the other thing is, these kids are ruining their futures before they even know that they have a future.
Bingo.
So that's something that I'm definitely passionate about. And now that goes into my other point. I was talking, Kiki, you still here? So I was talking with Kalila and Dr. Anshul Reggie last week. And she was talking about how she wants to do something explaining OSINT and especially in certain communities, and trying to teach it and bringing people together to teach it or whatever. And she said one of the things that she found challenging and frustrating was that there were a lack of people of color to teach some of these courses. And she was talking with another guest I had on, Dwayne Dunstan, Professor Dwayne Dunstan, about where are all these people. And I told her, I said, I think one of the challenges that I'm facing, especially with my current situation where I was looking for another job, and just to kind of give a quick backstory, when I started looking, I wanted to look for something where basically I could do pen testing or ethical hacking, but I also wanted to teach it. And basically, all I wanted to do was hack. It's literally on Twitter. I wanted to hack stuff, teach about hacking stuff, learn how to hack new stuff, and teach about hacking that. And that's all I wanted to do. That's all I wanted basically my job to revolve around. And I met with a lot of companies. Some of them were okay with it, but I would have to take like a massive pay cut, and at the end of the day, I have to feed my family. And then you had other companies who just felt like because I wasn't in academia, because I didn't go to college, so because I didn't come from an academic background, that I wasn't qualified, which now leaves me with the challenge of coming up with this content and these courses and stuff on my own, which I have no problem doing. Um, that was the plan anyway, but I was just hoping that I could find this happy world where this could coexist. And I'm sure there are some out there. It's just the timing, the timing wasn't right with COVID and everything like that. But I was explaining to Dr. Anshul was that you know that is a barrier for a lot of people, especially people of color who want to get that information and get that content out there. But the academia side look at it like, well, you're not one of us. And then the academia side is like, well, we need to teach the content, but we're on the academic side. We don't really come from a cybersecurity background. And then the cybersecurity folks are like, well, we wanted to help, but you said we weren't one of y'all. So whatever. So how do we, and this is something that led to a few other ideas, and I don't want to spill the beans on that yet, but how do we bridge, I'm looking for the question because I had the question here. How do we bridge that gap between the education and cybersecurity communities to come together and like I said, teach these courses or figure out or partner up? Because, for example, I can create a course right now, but I don't know if it's structured the right way. That's where I would probably need someone who has like your background or Dwayne or Anshul's background to say, this is how you need to structure it to get us to look at it.
Right. I think you're doing it already, because to be honest, we need to overhaul college education. You shouldn't come out owing $100,000 with really no workable skills. So I think you're thinking about it wrong. I think Kev Tech, Keep It Techie, Combo Courses, those guys are putting together work. They're teaching people from the ground up how to do it. I think they need to come and watch those guys how they do it. I think colleges is messed up, because you can't have 30%, 40% of the population owing $50,000 and they only making $10 an hour. That lets you know college is not working for the average person. So I think you're thinking of it wrong. I think we need to come. I think a lot of people on YouTube doing it. I think maybe we need to join forces to get a whole curriculum together. But as far as and that's talking about, and if you do Moodle, that's an open source curriculum where you can put your courses up there. You can videotape there. It's a built-in course management system like the big boys run. It's an open source course. But I think those guys, and there's a ton of more guys on there that I'm missing. I think they're putting in work and they got it. They basically need to scale it up a little bit. Tech G, he's got his stuff too. And I think those courses are good. Now they're spread out. But if you look at them, Kev Tech's doing work. Like I said, Tech G, Keep It Techie. You can see guys watching those courses and passing certifications and getting real jobs. So I think you're right. Maybe we need to clean it up, put it together to make one big curriculum. But let's be honest, I could take the area of a tornado, because that's what they told me to do in college. I've never used that in my life. Right. I took Calculus 3 because they said as a computer science person, I need that. But I didn't use any of those skills. Right. So I think college is wrong. And I think that's what made me switch to search.
College. Okay, I'm not gonna say I'm not. I mean, you can speak on it from your right. Yeah, I'm not gonna. Because last time I said something like college is wrong, they came for me. But
hold on, come for me. I'm waiting. Professor Black Ops, Google me. Come to my page. We welcome all the smoke on my page. But all the smoke. Go ahead.
But for example, like this conversation we were having about privacy, like we can that should be something that should be taught.
Without a doubt. That's why I try to bring it up in my class. But yeah.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah,
like that
yeah.
like that should be taught, and it needs to be taught by, like I said, like you're the best of both worlds, right? Like you're in the mix. You're in the mix, you know your shit,
Right.
and you also have the academia to
Right.
back you.
Right.
So, and like, you know, and some, like I said, a lot of us come from it and we don't really, you know what I'm saying? We don't mess with that side. But it's like, these are conversations that I think could be turned into courses or seminars or something like that, you know? And I also think that some people, not you, not Professor Ancho, not Dwayne, and I not Mary Galloway, but there are some who are into education. They take themselves too seriously.
Oh, I work with a ton of those.
I
I'm gonna
think
let you finish.
they take themselves too seriously because you know what? I feel like you using using old street lingo, you know, you can't speak on what you don't know. You can't talk about it if you're not if you're not about it. Like you can't false claim, false whatever, right? There are hundreds of people in this field who got their boots to the ground, their ears to the streets, whatever, that live and breathe this cybersecurity privacy life, but either don't want to do a platform like a YouTube because they don't see the value in it. And that can be a logical argument because you have some people who just don't have the patience to build a following. Like,
Right.
you know what I'm saying? And then you have some people who, you know, they'd rather speak to in person, and this is too informal and all of
Right.
that.
Right.
So we need to come together and figure out how we can merge it all that works for all parties involved.
To be honest, I actually think that happened. Shout out to Gabe too. I love college. I was skinny and I was stepping in '88, so I just wanted to shout out to Gabe. But let me back up. Is there are a lot of PhDs who I think are full of themselves, and they believe because they have a PhD that qualifies them to do something, right? It qualifies them to teach. I've worked with PhDs that put together systems, and I told him to his face, that's never going to hold a billion records. It's too complicated, right? So, but two is, I don't think you're going to have a one size fit all. So I think you need to have seminars, certs, degrees. Like Kalila Scott, shout out, she's doing both. So I think we need to have a plethora of things, and you pick what works for you. What I think certs is filling one of those sides, and I think that's why people got tired of college. So I got to learn Spanish. I got to learn psychology. What the hell does that have to do with cybersecurity?
That was my argument.
Somebody in the chat says I took Calculus 3. I use encryption every day. When you use government encryption, it's called FIPS 140-2. You cannot write your own encryption. If you write your own encryption, you have to send it to the government to get them to validate it. Most people in this industry is not going to write encryption. They're going to use it. OpenSSL, PGP, GGP. Nobody's going to write their own encryption because it's too hard. You can't write an AES module. It's like 15 iterations. It's too hard. You're going to use encryption that's been certified from the government. Now, there's going to be a few people that's going to write some new encryption, going to use quantum mechanics. They're going to split the atom so it vibrates at the same frequency so nobody can break it. But that's 0.5% of the people on the planet. That's why I tell my students, you just use encryption, right? You got to pick the good encryption. Oracle encryption, SQL Server encryption. You don't write encryption. You use the proper encryption that was certified by the government. But I think we need to have a plethora of things, seminars, college, certs, and just pick the best thing for you. And just hopefully you'll pick something that's going to make you a good living. You in cybersecurity, something that can get you in the field. I work with PhDs I thought was dumb as hell. And I work with a guy who was GED I thought was brilliant. So I work with both sides of those coins.
Yep. I mean, like I said, some of the people who've been most inspirational and insightful to me, some of them barely finished high school, you know. And to your point, when I think back to when I decided I wanted to get into tech, the conversation that I had was I discovered certifications, and I remember having that debate with my mother and a couple other family members, where they were like, yeah, but our certification is gonna hold any water to a real degree. And I remember my argument was, well, I'm already, I was in my 20s. I went to the military, did my stuff. I had my daughter, and it was like, I don't have time. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
I need to get in. I need to get my I need to get my boots on the ground now. And luckily, I had the 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 wherewithal to say, okay, cool. I'm gonna get these certifications. I'm gonna read the books, but I'm gonna put myself in certain situations to get myself the hands-on knowledge. So when I was doing my A+, I was working at Circuit City as a home theater tech,
Right.
but there was an opening on the PC bench. So I went to the manager and I said, hey, if can I work on the PC bench when I'm not doing home theater installs? And they were like, well, no, we're hiring for that. I'm like, no, this way, if you have me do it, now you don't have to hire someone new. Just give me another dollar or a dollar or two, and I'll do it. And honestly, I didn't care. It wasn't so much about the money. It was the fact that now I have this hands-on experience. So now because I kept hearing, the one thing I kept hearing was, it's hard to get your foot in the door.
Always.
You can't, it's hard to get, it's like, because no one's going to hire you if you don't have experience, but you can't get experience if you don't get hired. So I looked at it as, this is my foot in the door. I'm already working here, right? And don't get me wrong, I love Circuit City. Like, if, like, honestly, I could work not Circuit City, but I could work in a Best Buy. I could work in a Micro Center. Like, to me, that's my home away from home anyway. So if I can get paid to sit there and talk tech all day and go set up TVs and home theater systems and set up people's computers and teach them how to secure their routers, if it paid my bills, absolutely, I would do it all day. So to me, it was like, that's my foot in the door.
That's it.
Right. So because now I'm looking at it like, yeah, cool, I got an extra $1, I got an extra $2, but what I got that was more insightful was the hands-on knowledge. But I also got experience on my resume.
That's it.
So now when Circuit City went out of business and I was unemployed, I finished up getting a couple certifications. And then what did I do? I went to a cable company that had a hiring for online tech support. And I said, cool, I have my A+ and Network Plus now. And I have this year of experience from Circuit City doing their PC bench. Oh, cool, you got experience. Come on in. You know what I'm saying? So it was like, those are the type of things that people think about when they're doing that the degrees versus certifications. Now, if you're coming from a background where you have the time and the resources to do it, by all means, go for it. I'm not knocking it, but this is a real debate. Like, why do I need to learn? Why do I need to learn, childhood art? Why do you need to learn how to color you know what I'm saying? To get a cybersecurity or computer science degree. All right.
My college degree was 100 and I believe 23 hours of that was total. Only 33 was computer science. So I had to get 90 hours of other stuff to make me a more rounded person. So
there you go.
Shout out to Gabe. We're gonna do zero trust in the future. Person-centered cyber is leading to zero trust for the new architecture.
Nice. Okay, I need to get the date for that talk. But like I said, what I want to do is, and like I said, Khalil is on here, and I think we gonna co-host that panel.
What is she? What's her background? I see her. I gave her a shout out. I don't think I've met her.
Oh, Kalila Scott. Yeah, she's actually a college student right now. So she's transitioning into cybersecurity.
Shout out.
But she's doing both. I
saw that.
She's getting her degree. I believe she got her Security Plus, and she's doing a internship. So shout out to her. Like I said, like she's grinding. Her and JB Cyber Insight. We're just doing we're doing a couple streams together on Try Hack Me too. So yeah, y'all go check her out. Like I said, she's definitely one. She's definitely one to keep an eye on. Yeah. She's gonna be a big stepper in this community in a couple years. I
see her. I do federal compliance. So if you need me, just reach out. I'm here for you. Anything I can do. I'm a STIG, NIST 800-53 compliance. I do a little everything. So if you need any help, just give me a shout out.
So what I'm thinking is, like I said, I think me and Kalila, I think what I want to do is, because she's the one who introduced me to Professor Reggie. So I want to do a panel with people who, with like, you, Dwayne, Professor Reggie, Mary Galloway, and then have, like me, JB, uh Kalila, I'm thinking Ty Wilson, a few other people, and have us get together and actually have this conversation about bridging the gap. And you know what? We need to do it, and we need to do it on InfoSec Unplugged, or we can multi-stream it on everybody's channel, so we can all have this conversation.
That's cool.
So so definitely we need to do this. Kev Tech, like I said, I think yeah, I'm gonna have to reach out to a few people. All right, so we're gonna get to the chat. I see you guys out there in the pack. So, but we're gonna get to the last couple questions, and then we can keep this conversation going. I don't know how you are on time, Professor.
I'm great with time. I didn't get a class this quarter, so I'm good. I got extra time.
All right, so okay, so there you go. There you have it. All right, so 3 questions, and then we'll get into the Q&A. First of all, somebody walks up to you, has no experience, and you have to give them maybe 1 to 3 pieces of advice to get into cybersecurity. What would they be?
What's their money situation? I'll go. If you have no money, there's a lot of guys on YouTube. Kev Tex, I'm giving him a shout out. Tech G's, he's got the A+ and some stuff. So there's a lot of free information. I would go on AWS and get the A+, the Net Plus, and the Security Plus. If you're just starting, I would tell you to start off with there. I would tell you to go on YouTube. There's a lot of free content. Start grinding and get your certs to get in the game. But if you don't have any money, like you said, to go to college, just start with the certs. Let's get in there. Let's get to work. Reach out to people. Your homeboy lab every day. We need to be labbing every day. Get your lab set up. Go get you some used equipment. Let's go.
Shout out to the homie lab every day. So okay. So you said A+, Net Plus, Security Plus, and AWS.
Yeah, I would do AWS later because that's a big step messing with the cloud. But I would do the basic certs, and everybody know what they are, to get you in the game. Mm-hmm. Then, like you said, and the next thing is, how do you get some experience? Can you do a free intern? If you're able, can you? So how? And then the question is, how do you get some experience once you get those certs and get started, right? Can you meet people on LinkedIn? Can you volunteer? But that's it. Like you said, like how you did. How do you get your foot in the door? So I think that's stuff we could do on YouTube is get some lives with some people and set up some real type scenarios, and you can actually use that for experience, right? If that's with me, setting up your policies, procedures, your zero trust architecture, working with you, pen testing, red team, how do you Kev Tech, help desk, probably be the easiest one to do. But how do you get experience to actually do this so you can do that for real?
I'm sorry that
I see you thinking.
That was a light bulb in my head. We gonna talk offline.
That's what I do. That's what I do. I'm the OG. That's what I do. That's what the OG does.
The lights go out. My brain started moving.
That's what the OG does.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So, okay. So with the first quarter of 2021 done, what are your goals for the rest of the year?
I think we're in the same goal. My thing is I'm really pushing towards the cloud. I feel like, once again, person-centered cyber, we're going to get together. I'm doing zero trust architecture in the AWS cloud. I've been doing actually a lot of reviews in the cloud. So I'm just trying to make sure I understand that inside and out. Get my VPCs, my security group, Oracle SQL Server, MySQL in the cloud, running it as a service, running a function, serverless. Make sure I understand all that stuff in the cloud inside and out, because everything's going to the cloud. I'm late. I should have been in the cloud about 5 years ago. I'm getting old. I'm getting tired. For the people out there, each decade it gets a little harder to study. I'm just throwing that out.
I think me and JB had this conversation last year. We're like, it's not the same.
No.
The grind. The grind. You know how they say, like, So like in basketball, it's like, your legs is the first thing to go, but so you got
Without
to
a doubt.
keep the jumper. Yo, the study grind is different when you get older. Like when I was younger, I could be like, yo, I'm locking in for a month. Don't nobody talk to me for a
Oh
month.
man.
And I'm coming out like Yoda, right?
Right.
And now, I mean, a wife, two kids, a dog,
Oh, I'm right
side
there with you.
businesses, and everything later. But
Oh,
yeah, but it's like, yo, that grind is
man, I used to be in a dorm
it's
room like Gabe. Yeah, I used to be there
it,
with a 2 liter Mountain Dew, just banging out 4,000 lines of code every night. I used to be
yo,
co-piling RBG in every day, but now
yo, that yeah,
it's crazy.
that grind, that study grind hit different now. But yeah, like I said, but yeah, no, definitely with the cloud. Where I just saw it pass by. Hold on. There you
The
go.
3%.
Yes, business technology
Let me
mentorship.
let me.
3% of the world is in the cloud, so you ain't late. No, absolutely. And then Chad B says AWS CCP. Shout out to Chad B. Chad B got like a network. He got a little Discord network of streamers and stuff. So Chad B, you might need to get with Professor Black Ops because he's another cybersecurity head, and also where is she? Person centered cyber, and they're talking about it from a policy and a different standpoint. So you need to link up with them and get on with them too. Gabe, is Gabe stream?
He's
I'm
in
not.
there.
Yeah, I know he's in there, but so I'm just asking. I'm seeing if he streams though. But
I don't know. He need to definitely get on, man. Gabe
yeah,
needs to get
man,
on.
I guess yeah, he definitely need to get on the streaming stuff. But like I said, but now look, that's part of my light bulb. Now that I
Let,
saw chat,
let,
I'm like, it's coming together. So
let me
I
throw
just
some on that 3% real quick.
go ahead.
I was doing some work in Silicon Valley. They will not let any new venture start up unless it's in the cloud. The reason why is they're not going
Mm,
to let you buy hardware because 75% of those ventures they do in Silicon Valley fail. So they want you to spin up some VMs. If you fail, they just going to shut them down. So all your new ventures definitely going to be in the cloud. I was doing some HIPAA work in Silicon Valley. 5 young guys thought they were going to spin up a HIPAA message queue so hospitals could talk with no security documentation. I'm like, you are mistaken, young man. Let me help you. But
I just found and immediately like three things just popped up in my head that was like, you're gonna do what and where with what doc and know what? Okay.
but like you just said it though. People think of features when they doing these things in the garage or working. Oh, we got the feature. We got the feature. We got. Oh, it's hot. You ain't gonna do anything in the government or any big government like that. Now, if you want to do Facebook, but now they starting to tighten down on that because the government regulations about to come down hard on the social media. They mean on that stuff now. They about to really start to regulate those guys.
We'll see. We'll see. I'm pretty sure Zuckerberg and Jack gonna grease some pockets.
No, without a doubt. Facts on business technical mentorship. My fault. That's your job. Let me stop stepping
No,
on your
no,
tongue.
no. Like I said, that's all right. That's you the guest. You shoot. You see it. You see it. All right. So you've been here enough. You already know. And like I said,
Yeah.
this is the first one back for episode 1 of, I guess we call it season 2. But for those who don't know, every guest I have on the show, I like to ask, what is their why? This can be what their motivation is when things get too hard, when that study grind gets too real, when the students just ain't registering what's taken on, whatever. So, Professor Black Ops, cybersecurity for the people. What is your why?
My why is to help the community. That's my number one thing. I'm at a point in my life where the bag is secure. I'm doing some other stuff. So I just want to make sure helping young people to make sure they're making the right decisions, especially in underserved communities, because our net worth going down, how much land we
Mm,
own. So I think the next big grab is the technology grab. I think it's
mm.
there. We just need to get it. We need to stop talking about relationships and basketball. We need to get focused and get to building.
See,
My
this is
second why, I'll go ahead.
yo. No, 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 no. Go ahead,
My
sir. Go ahead.
second
Cook.
why
You
is
cooking?
my
Cook.
son getting busy and I got a lot of grandkids, so I'm trying to leave something for the grandbabies. I got to work for the grandbabies. My son getting a little too crazy out here. I got to go get him in line, but I got a few grandbabies, so I got to make sure the college fund or the 529 ready for them, so they can get some certs and get some college. So that's about
Right.
and two is I eat very well. I eat filet, shrimp, so brother got to eat out here. So I'm trying to get the bag, eat and stay thick. Shout out to the chat. That's all I
Right.
got, man.
That's what's up. You know what? And you know, not trying to count anybody money, and I'm not trying to get in anybody pockets, but there's a certain, and this is one of the things that I try to tell people. There's a certain level of clarity that comes with knowing that your bills are going to be paid and your lights is going to stay on and stuff like that, and it allows you to have conversations like what you just said, like trying to do other ventures and trying to help other people, or situations like I said, like the one where I was in a few weeks ago, where it allowed me to just be like, that's a nice amount of money, but my integrity and what I'm doing here, even though I'm not making, trust me, I'm not making any life changing. You know, you a content creator. I'm not making any life changing salary off of doing this, but I love doing it, and I love doing it because of what's going on right now. This dialogue that you see in the chat, this dialogue that you see amongst people who probably wouldn't have met each other any other way. This dialogue of people of different backgrounds right now that's going on. You know, it's a beautiful thing when you're able to have that peace of mind to say, all right, cool, what can I focus on now? And like, yeah, and but at the end of the day, it's like, yeah, we want to help people, and we have to think of the future, right? These, like you're talking about, these underserved communities, like that's a risk in itself. And lack of technology, lack of knowledge of technology is a risk in itself.
The digital divide.
And it's almost like, you know, just like any other sport. You talked about basketball, just like any other sport. When do you get them? And yes, you have some people who have the natural God-given talent, or the natural height, or the natural whatever ability. I'm not talking about them, but most of these people you start as kids. You start them young in little league or AAU ball, travel ball, you know, soccer academies, youth academies, and you build them up so they can go pro. We need to take that same mentality with tech, cybersecurity. I mean, like I said, the inspiration for my gaming talk, my gaming and hacking mentality talk, that I'm doing it again next week with Philip Wiley at his Pwn School project. But I got that idea from my son's esports coach, because now they're looking at esports as a legitimized sport. And what they're doing is they're doing something like almost like an AAU type pipeline, where you start them off locally, build up like an AAU style esports team. Yeah. And now they get to go. They're not traveling from state to state, but they're going to different colleges. Like my son was 9, competing in a Fortnite esports competition at a college.
That is unbelievable. Now my mind's still wrapping around that now.
He had colleges looking at him at 9, and like I said, and the funny thing is, my mom was there, and I kept looking at her, going, "Remember when you said playing video games would get you nowhere in life?"
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But look now. But I came up with the idea of, and I know I'm probably late to the party, because people like Chloe Mustagi and a few other people have been talking about the gamification of cybersecurity for a while, and things like Hack the Box and CTFs are kind of like gamification. But that's where I came up with the concept. Like, we need to come up with a security and privacy pipeline from when these kids get these phones. The moment you say, I think my child is old enough or responsible enough to get these phones, we need to have some type of course or some type of seminar or some type of talk that says, watch this first. You know what I'm saying?
That's definitely true.
And again, or leave it up to the parent's discretion, but it needs to be there, right? Because you have some parents who are like, I don't care, I trust my kid, whatever. Okay, but it's there if you need it. Right now, it's not there, and this is I might be, you know, whatever, I'm fumbling the bag or whatever, but these are things that I've been having. These are conversations I've been having. But anyway, I'm sorry, I didn't want to take away from your why, but yes, to help people,
you're good.
To help people, and you know, to feed them grandbabies. Tell your son to slow it down, man. That formula ain't cheap.
The guy said Spud Webb, dude, that's an outlier. That's the only guy been in the NBA that's 5'7". It's one every generation, man.
But yeah, but Spud Webb's probably walking on his tippy toes from when he was a baby.
Yeah, it's special. You can't use outliers for a majority of a population, man. Never use outliers to save
Right.
it. To bring up a majority population, that's never going to work.
And the funny thing is, the Spud Webbs, the Muggsy Bogues, the Allen Iversons, the Isaiah Thomases, even the smaller Isaiah Thomases, the other Isaiah Thomas, they were an answer to counter all these big tall people because they were quick. So again, things always change, and then things go back to being the same. So all right, so we talked about the goals, we talked about what is your why, and now how can the people find you, sir?
Professional Black Ops, one word. There's another guy out there. I have about 200 subscribers, so you'll see me out there. I need to put my face on there finally, but you'll see me out there. Like I said, so my three pillars is general news, Stigs, CSI checks, little purple team, definitely blue team. Like what we're talking about. What society issues, from privacy to the digital divide to in the future, what does that look like from different populations, right? What does that look like? So those are the kind of the three things I talk about on my channel. So
okay, and when do you stream? What's your streaming schedule?
I haven't got one yet. I'm all over the place. So that's one I need to tighten up, like you and all the other people kind of pick me a day and go. I just kind of go when I feel. So I'm working on that. To be determined. TBD. Yeah. To be determined. So those are some of the stuff. And so, like I said, my big thing coming up in the next couple of months, and Cyber Center person got me on it. We're gonna really focus in on zero trust architecture. So how do you architect this? How does the government architect secure architecture, right? What is that like? So in that architecture, long story short, is trust no one, consider everything is already breached, and right, and least privilege. So, and I'm actually going to build that architecture actually on AWS as a footnote or as a practice session. So I'm going to build it up and test it up. I might give it out to you, Kenny Conjo, and some of the top-notch red team penetration team, see what y'all can do with it once I get it set up. And we can see iron sharpen iron, see if you can get in there. So I'm laying down the challenge. OG's coming in, starting stuff today. So we're going to put that out there for the community. I'm going to send it out, like I said, some of the top penetration guys, you, Kenny Conjo, some other guys I know in the community, focus on that. So then we can see where the weaknesses is. I'm going to stick it up 4,000 checks. So let's see what it's gonna be like.
Okay. Well, like I said, I'm working on my AWS pen testing right now.
Right. So that's how we're gonna get good. We're gonna get good together. We're gonna get good together.
Yep. Shout out to John Helmus, aka Moosey Moose on Twitter. I'm actually reading his book on AWS pen testing. Okay. All right. So Pac, thank you for being so patient with us. I know we were going back and forth with some of these debates, but I'm gonna get into some of this Q&A. Let's see. There were some that I skipped by. Morgan Lucas says, "Glad people are not totally eschewing degrees, but encouraging them along with other trainings." No, absolutely. I think there's got to be a balance if you can do it.
Let me chime in. I don't think we're skewing degrees. I think degrees was skewing certs. Degrees has always been it for major companies. We just trying to get other ways to get into the games. Degrees are always going to be the top, because right now most companies are ran by old people, and I had to talk to them every day. So degrees are always good for at least another 50 years till y'all young people get up. So degrees is not being skewed. We just trying to get certs in the game.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. But like I said, I think. I feel like it's easier to do certs and a degree than just one. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. I don't like I said, I don't have a degree. So I feel like would have probably have made my journey a little bit easier. Probably, especially in the mid game when you get to that point where it's like you want to take that next step and it's almost like you hit that wall. But we'll see.
Oh, degrees definitely makes it easier.
Kev Tech. Hey, we need to talk. We need to link up, man. You have to start from the beginning. People have unrealistic thoughts about making a lot of money, and you got to get you need to get job experience first. Absolutely. Like
Facts.
I tell people. So when people ask me and I say, "What's your why?" The first two things I say is, don't tell me because you're looking to get the bag, and and don't tell me because you think you saw a Mr. Robot or something like that and think that I can just go hack some stuff. Like, if those are your two reasons, the bag is not going to come overnight. The bag is going to come years late. Like, I was halfway through my career before I got what I considered to be a bag. And then, and if your bag, let me rephrase that. If your bag is 40, 50 grand, then yeah, the bag might get there,
Facts.
but it's still going to take some time. You're not going to get the bag with an A plus. You're not going to get 50 grand with an A plus.
No.
Let's just be clear. You know what I'm saying? So it just depends.
Yeah, it took me probably a decade to get the bag. And two is I got lucky because some people showed me behind the curtain. And I'm gonna interview some of these people. What does that mean is, as a contractor, a lot of people don't know what a contract's worth. Most contractors don't realize you only get 30% of what the company is getting for that contract.
Mm-hmm.
So when I thought I was getting a bag, then this guy I'm cool with, he's gonna come on my channel, show me what the contract was worth. I was like,
Oh yeah.
I almost said something. I don't want to get too far.
No.
I was getting abused. I was getting abused. Let's just put it like that. So we're gonna talk about that on our channel. Some of this channel
Yeah.
is.
Listen.
And you can look that up on Glassdoor. What actually is the bag for your
No,
job type? But let me back it up. Kev Tech is correct. When I came out of college in '86, I made $21,000, and I still lived at home with my mom because I came out in a recession. I went to Indiana State University. It's a regular college. It's not a Big Ten. When I started working at this company called Lilly, they told me they only looked at Big Ten and Ivy League schools for jobs. I said, why would you do that? They said, because we're big pharmaceutical companies. When we put out a job, we get 1,000 resumes. How do we cut 1,000 resumes? We start putting that you had to go to a Big Ten or Ivy League college, right? So those are some things that people, they don't do it now as much, but that's how they make cuts sometimes.
No. I'm gonna stop you right there because Google and Twitter.
Facts.
Google and Twitter just got called out a couple months ago. Well, actually, Google got called out because they said that HBCUs, they didn't hold people with computer science degrees from HBCUs to standards like some other colleges. And then they were noticing that some of the people from Google went to Twitter and started implementing them same policies in their interview process. So it's still there, which
I don't consider Google and them real companies, I guess. That's like the elite. I expect them to do that. So I guess that's why I didn't count them. But you are correct. And they call it pattern matching because it worked for those guys. So they consider that pattern. So, yeah. But you are correct. I've been in Silicon Valley. They were trying to serve me sushi every day. I'm like, player, I need some meat. I don't know what y'all got out here me doing up there. Out here, I need a chair. I ain't sitting on no ball, man. I don't know what y'all doing. I don't know what y'all doing in Silicon Valley, but I'm about to go back to the Midwest. I don't know what y'all got me out here eating urchin. Are y'all crazy? So that's all I'm gonna shout out to Business Tech Mentorship giving out some tidbits behind the curtain. Shout out.
Yeah, no, like I said, that consultant contractor bag is for real. I mean, if you have to be okay with doing your own taxes and finding your own insurance. And I think
no. I'm an employee, so I get all the benefits and still get the bag, player. So
so you're a W-2 employee. You're not 1099.
No, I did 1099. I ended up owing the government a whole bunch of taxes. Man. You need to learn about money. When I did that, I was like, I almost accidentally voted Republican. Oh, let me not say that on your show. Well, I got that tax bill, and I was like, oh my God, what's going on? I was like, whoa.
Oh man! All right, so person
so you get the bag, and you can get the bag and be W-2.
Okay, so I'm gonna be looking forward to that talk. I mean, because guess what? The only thing that's better than a bag is a bigger bag. So person from the cyber says Doc West says hi. Don't worry, Doc. I'm still I'm gonna send you the link soon.
Shout out to Doc.
And then Ty says, how do you get over fearing about making mistakes in this field as a person of color? You want to take?
I didn't think of POC. Oh yeah. That is real. that is real. My first time at DOD, I was the only black person, man, and I was just crazy. I was nervous to make a mistake. What you got to realize is, and I think Gabe put it in there, and he said, you're going to make a mistake. What you got to set up first before you make that mistake is you're qualified, your skills are on point. And two is, and I see a lot of young people do that, is when you make a mistake, say you made a mistake, don't try to cover it up. I've seen people try to hide their mistakes because they think they're going to be able to fix them before people find out, and make it 100 times worse.
Yep.
Bad news never get any news, and the quicker you tell somebody, the quicker the team can come and help you.
Talk about it. So I'm gonna zoom out. I'm gonna zoom in real quick. You see this right here? Right here on this little black whiteboard thing. Always bet on yourself. Always bet on yourself. So, like Gabe said, and I'm gonna put up Gabe's response. Actually, he said, by realizing that you will make mistakes, and mistakes are a part of learning, and they shouldn't be shamed. Absolutely. So, but you have to believe in yourself to even know that I messed up. Like you said, you have to own it. The quicker you own it, the quicker the quicker you're open to coming up to it with a solution. If you try to hide it, you 9 times out of 10, it's almost like with kids, right? Like if a kid, when they're a toddler, or even as they're older, right? Because kids of all ages make messes. It just depends on what you qualify as a mess. If they make the mess, if they come in and say, I made a mess, you can fix it while that puddle, when we use analogies, that puddle is small. If not, you're going to start scrambling, trying to figure it out. And then meanwhile, that mess is getting larger and larger. So you got to understand that no one's perfect in this field. No, you're going to mess up. And the other thing I say is it's not about how you mess up. It's how you recover. So if you mess up, cool, you messed up. How are you going to, now that you acknowledge that you messed up, you got to fix it. Now, if you fix it by making the same mistake over and over again, then guess what? You ain't learned your lesson, and then you got to deal with whatever those consequences are. But yeah, that's real. You're going to mess up, just own it and deal with it and move forward. So it looks like, I guess we blowing through some of this chat. I can't keep up with some of it, but Anonymous said the conversation we were having about the privacy and the government and all of that. He said a strange van pulled up.
I love Anonymous. Shout out to Anonymous.
Yeah, that's the homie. That's like that.
Too is you should be working with a team of people.
Yeah.
So my mistakes are always going to cut down, because when I do something, I got other people testing it. I'm talking to other people. We breaking down the code. We getting it as a team. We letting iron sharpen iron. So if I do something and I run it, and it might not be a mistake. Maybe I can't run 1 million records, and it's supposed to be done in 5 hours, and my 1 million records work, but it takes 8 hours, right? It's all right, but I still can't get in my backup window, right? So as you work with people, you will start learning from people. I worked with probably 2 of the best teams that I ever worked in my life. And what I learned working with that team was just phenomenal. One of the guys came from Discover. One of the guys came from Oracle. One of those guys came from the pharmaceutical. So working with those guys that used to work with big data, you just start learning phenomenal techniques. Phenomenal.
Yeah. No, like I said, I mean, yeah. I always be willing to learn.
I got to jump in on that. That's the good and the bad about IT. Every decade, you're going to need to learn something new. It was mainframes, mini computers, cloud. I knew guys, half the people don't know what a BlackBerry is. I know guys are making $100,000 of the BlackBerry. BlackBerry does not exist. Power Builder, another IBM tool, 100,000. Those guys don't exist anymore because those things become obsolete. But if you get one of those hot waves, you can ride it for 10 years and make a killer bag.
Well, I mean, look at cybersecurity. I think if you know how to navigate it properly, that like one person, he wasn't even a cybersecurity mentor, but I consider him to be a mentor. One of the things that one of the gems he dropped on me was there's no and he's my employer. He was my employer at the time. He goes, there's no loyalty in this field. There's no loyalty. He was like, yo, if you treat the days of staying at a company 20, 30 years and getting that watch is over. And so I look at it now like I'm a mercenary. I'm a hitman. I'm a mercenary for hire. I'm going to the highest bidder as long as I don't compromise my integrity. Right. And as long as you do, you know, some people frown upon that. Oh, you're not staying with a company long enough. And what about longevity and all of that? Nah, you know, within the first 3 to 6 months, if this is for you. Now, I'm not saying you jump everywhere every 3 months. I'm not saying you even jump everywhere every 6 months. But if you give a job 1 or 2 years and you're like, I need to move on, especially while you're still young. I don't see the problem in that, because guess what? If you die tomorrow, they're gonna have your job posted by lunchtime.
Oh, without a doubt. That's what I was gonna say.
They're gonna have your job posted before the company know you died, before the rest of the company know you died. They're gonna be like, oh, such and such died. Hold on. Hey, HR, post this job on you know, Indeed and LinkedIn and all of that. And then they're gonna send out the thing at the end of the day. Oh yeah, by the way, such and such died. We're sad. We pray for his family. But if you know anybody who can do his job, we're giving $1,500 for a referral fee. So,
and two, the opposite of that too is if their budget gets small and they get in recession, they gonna fire you and not think they're not gonna care about your kids, your mama, your daddy. You just gonna be gone. So I tell people as consultant is, I'm cool if you fire me. You're not gonna hurt my feelings. If I did something wrong, let me know, because this is a business. Yeah. If somebody offered me $50,000 more, I'm gone. No hard feelings. If you get stuck, call me. I'll be more than happy to help you. I'm not gonna leave you dry. I got you. Call me.
At a consulting fee.
Yeah, let's just pay my normal rate. I'm good. I like you. And two is, I think as you're young too, is every 3 or 4 years, if you're not getting promoted or moved to another job, you're gonna need to move so you can make sure your skills are progressing.
Yes.
And you're keeping up. Because one time, most companies, once they get a technology, they're not changing. They're not trying to do anything. They just rolling that out. So
especially if they get to a point where they feel like they're secure, then it's like, don't move nothing.
Oh, that's true.
As soon as they be like, hey, it's secure, we passed this assessment, we're PCI compliant, we're HIPAA compliant, don't touch anything. We need to stay just like this for the next year so we can be compliant. And that's not the right mentality. But that's true. So JB said, I'm gonna get to that. But JB said, I did 23andMe and there was an opt-out for sharing the info, i.e. I wouldn't be able to find relatives. Okay, so how that actually holds up legally. So so go ahead.
Most people don't click on that. Go ahead. Most people don't click on that button though. Yeah, it's in there, but most people don't click on it.
Right. But look how they worded it. They deterred you. So it's like you can opt out, but ain't nobody gonna find you though.
Right. That's why most people don't opt.
Yeah.
Right. Most people don't opt out. And the other thing too is the good thing, especially I shouldn't say that, especially in the government, some of those big things, especially when you have a lot of older people don't want to learn. So that you can pick up a job. Like I was doing some Java and some stuff. Next thing I know, they were like, "Oh, you know how to do that? You want to be on a web team?" I'm like, "Sure, I'll be on a web team." "Oh, we don't know how to do PL SQL programming. You know how to do that?" "Yeah, you can be a DBA." Because a lot of times people, like he said, the 30-year people, especially at those big government sites, they really not trying to work. They just trying to get to 30 years and they retirement. So they letting the young people work. Now, granted, I was doing 3 people job, but after 3 years I left and I got 40% more money when I switched companies because I picked all those new skills up.
Right. No, absolutely. Like I said, you got to know your worth. You got to know your worth at all times. Like even when I'm not looking, I still pay attention to what the market's doing. Right. I mean, you are your investment. Like if everybody ran and bought Coinbase, right? Yesterday when Coinbase went public, right? And what everybody started doing, they started looking at they Robinhood apps and they trading apps to see how Coinbase is doing, how AMC is doing, how their Bitcoin is doing. Treat yourself just like you treat any other stock that you invest in. Okay, so I'm getting paid this. And then but then a few months go down. Oh, the average market for someone with my skill set, with my experience, with my certifications, with my degrees says I should be making 20 to 30% higher. Now that's up to you to weigh the pros and cons, right? Because you have some people who are like, yeah, but I get these little perks, I get these little things here, so I'm okay with it. All right, cool. but at least you did the knowledge, you did the lookup on yourself, because guess what? That might be in 3 months. In 6 months, in 9 months, you might look at it and go, oh, that's a 40% difference.
Wow.
I might need to really reevaluate. So it's like, treat yourself like your investment. Always bet on yourself.
All right. And cool. Now, like you said, now you have options. Now you have decisions. Now you can figure out what bag you want if you're comfortable. But now you have options. You're not stuck in a job.
Yes.
You can say, I can move. So now you can make options. And two is, the thing that helped me out is when I worked at DOD and these big government contractors, people know who you are. They know your skill set. If you're good, they recommend you to other jobs. I haven't interviewed in 20 years. People invite me to come work for them. So I was cool with a project manager. Next thing I know, our project manager for us was huge. It was 500 people. Next thing I know, she's CIO of a major government agency, and she asked me, do I want to come work for her? I'm like, you the CIO? I'm like, okay, I'll come work for you. This is the amount. She knew what the amount is. She was cool. So everybody I work with, they start moving to different companies. Now you have, I'm going to stop saying a Rolodex. That's an old term. But now you have people you can call. They'll call you and be like, hey, I got a job out here. You want it? You want it? I can recommend you. Right? So then your network start getting bigger.
Talk about it. So, okay. So hold on real quick. So Bullet, I'm not even going to go through this whole
name.
Yeah,
that's true. I've
Mike
seen
Pence
that.
had surgery to put electronic pacemaker in his heart. A terrorist will eventually hack Mike Pence's pacemaker. I hate hackers. Hackers are puke scum. So I think you just said that just for the sake of saying it. But we can get into the whole debate of of hackers aren't criminals and hackers shouldn't be labeled as criminals. They should be the people who are doing malicious attacks should be considered malicious attackers or malicious attackers or attackers, or just call them what they are, criminals. As a hacker, no, I'm not going to say I'm offended because I have thick skin, but if that's the case, then being scum gets me paid very well, but I follow the rules. So
right.
I'm sorry you feel that way, not sorry.
Right. But too, and like I'm gonna throw this out, is I do blue team, right? So I do that for major government. If you look at this 800-53, part of that is we need to hire a penetration tester, aka a hacker, to come to make sure we set it up right, to make sure we didn't, like you said, we didn't need a S3 bucket open, right? So we need hackers to come and validate our architecture. Right, yep. So I can come through. I got okay penetration still. I did a video about Panera Bread. I did a Qualys scan. It actually showed their web server. I looked up their web server. They had some CVEs. Yeah. Right, that's a poor man's penetration test. I'm not red team, but I do enough to validate that. But when, at the government, every 3 years we invite penetration testers or actually red team to come in and validate our architecture. So those guys are needed. It's not just blue team, red team, and purple team. We all work together.
You have to, like you said, steel sharpens steel, iron sharpens iron, right? Yeah. And guess what? Yeah, anybody could run a Qualys scan, a Nessus scan, and get the CVEs. But guess what? If you don't have the hands-on knowledge to say, okay, now let me check manually, because the thing with those scanners are, they push out a lot of false positives. So again, like I said, hey, guess what? You can continue to say they're puke scum. Puke scum get the bag. So
correct, Gabe. But vulnerability assessments in there, part of that.
Yeah, there's a difference. Like I said, I was gonna say that's the other thing. Yeah, there's a difference between vulnerability assessments and penetration tests. So the vulnerability assessment is what you described about running the scans and getting the vulnerabilities, and then even verifying those vulnerabilities. The penetration test now is what you do with those vulnerabilities after.
Right. But my thing is, as blue team, I do a vulnerability test so I can know what I'm fixing to get as tight as I can. So when you come in, at least try to make it harder. I don't want to leave something wide open, right, that anybody can attack. But now Gabe is right. So as blue team, when I set it up, then I'm gonna do a vulnerability assessment, right? I'm gonna look at my CVEs. I'm gonna run scans. So I'm gonna try to make sure at least kitty script stuff, right? So I'm not leaving low hanging fruit, right? I don't want to do this zero trust architecture is super good and leave the S3 bucket not lock down something so easy, right? Yeah. So we all got to work together. That's the whole team working together, and us, I think that architecture secure.
Yeah, and I think things like Purple Team are starting to get it right.
I've been doing Purple Team for 10 years. Because
I know, but I'm saying, but it wasn't. Purple Team wasn't sexy. It was always red versus blue, red versus blue. Right. And now they're saying, oh, Oh yeah, we knew about that. Yeah, purple. Let's push purple like it's brand new.
Right.
So
But the weird thing though is, in the game thought, and you thought that if you go look at the OWASP top 20, it's been the same for 15 years. They just moved
they
SQL injection to command
yeah.
injection. They moved. So we're not doing a good job.
Well,
They've
I
been out
think
there for 20 years.
well, I think yeah. Well, I mean, yeah. If injections are still there, injections will still be there.
Right.
But and I think what they're also doing now is with separating them, because now people are looking at the OWASP top 10 for web app vulnerabilities, and they're trying to use that for everything. Like you can't use like, and that's why they came out with like the API top 10, the mobile top 10.
No, I
because
agree.
you can't, you know what I'm saying? So Ty says education needs that overhaul. It needs a flow. No, I agree. I think when we were having the conversation about bridging that gap,
and two is, and I think Kev Tech, we need something for everybody. Degrees, certs, a mix, seminars, pick your flavor.
Yeah. Project 5000 says technology bridges a gap in these kinds of settings. YouTube, blogs, you guys coming together. Now I appreciate it. And that's the goal. That's the goal. And then I guess I saw this when Person Center Cyber, when we were talking about bringing in cybersecurity people into the academia world. She goes, and we can actually teach real security instead of what people need to do, what they need to do to pass tests, and still pass the test. Yeah, there's a difference between. That's the thing. There's a difference between being not paper certified or paper secure and being really secure.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So let's see. Oh no, you said that one. I have an associate's. Many laugh at my degree compared to 4-year degrees. But yeah, you have an associate. So Ty, but guess what? You have an associate's, and people laugh at your 2-year degree instead of 4-year degrees, and then people with 4-year degrees get laughed at with people with masters, and people with masters get laughed at with people with doctorates. So you know what? There's always going to be some form of gatekeeping. Where it's like, you know what I'm saying? Like, oh, you like, I mean, and guess what? It's gonna happen wherever you go. Oh, you have an A+. But you don't have this. But guess what? The person got the A+ to get their start, and now they're one step ahead of where they were. You say you're a pen tester, you don't have your OSCP. Yeah, but I have my hands on. You know what I'm saying? It's like there's always gonna be a what about what, but this, if this then that type mentality.
I agree 100%. I actually teach at the associate level, 2-year degree, so they can go on to their next 4-year degree. It's just a stepping stone. It's part of continuing learning too, right? So as long as you learning, be that degrees, certs, YouTube, reading books, lab every day. As long as you learning, just tell people, you learning.
Yep. So all right, so I'm because like I said, I see y'all are moving, so I'm trying to I'm gonna skip through some of these. Let's see, writing encryption's algorithm. Okay, here we go. CW InfoSec says there are a lot of fields in computer science that demand knowledge of higher level maths, data analytics, machine learning, the 3D imaging, rendering, game development. Right, you're absolutely right, and I think what the argument is that so that should go towards those. I'm sorry, I done took me off the camera. That should go towards those degrees, not necessarily one that doesn't necessarily need to learn that type of stuff.
Yeah, let me respond because I think I started that. So what I mean by that is that selection you put right there. If you Google that, those are very high selected jobs. Meaning there's not a ton of those jobs out there. When you talk about a standard programmer that can work at a government slot doing some regular business program, that's going to be 80% of the programming jobs out there that's going to respond. So I'm not saying that me learning level 3 calculus was a mistake. I just don't use that in my everyday programming life, right? So that probably, like you said, I've done machine learning. I still didn't use it in there. But a lot of those do need high-level math and high-level math for those jobs. But it's rare that you need that type of level of math in the industry. Now, once again, if you're going to do some quantum physics, yes. If you're going to do even in game development, a lot of times you calling widgets that other people wrote that's going to do the math to make the arm move. You're not going to do it yourself. Those are repetitive tasks, so those are usually functions. So, but like I said, I don't want to dissuade you from doing it. I'm just telling you, 90% of those people with that high level math is not going to use it unless you in that type of job.
Right. So let's see. Business Technology Mentorship says AWS startups will provide 100K to build on their platform. No, you definitely, if you have the skill set, absolutely. I mean, and that's what Kev was talking about, about learning that, and getting the, getting that AWS and automation stuff, getting in there. So
right, and automation is real big. That's one thing I want to get in there. Shout out to Keep It Tech in the building. Like I said, that's
yes,
probably one of
sir.
the first people I followed that kind of got me in this game. He gave me an interview, so definitely shout out to him. But yeah, once again, we all talked about that. The cloud is the future. The cloud is now AWS, Azure, Google. I'm interviewing somebody from all three of those coming up. So, but that everybody needs to get in the cloud, like I said, especially with automation, and just kind of master it.
Person Center Cyber says, "How do we make Stig sexy?"
I saw that. Oh man, I'm thinking about that. Stigs is hard. Most people don't want to do them. I had $1 billion company tell me they were too hard, and they made $1 billion a year. They told me to my face it was too hard. So one thing I do, and I didn't mention that, is all the software that comes into the department I work, I review every piece of software that we look at. So I get to see a lot of unique system security plans out there. So it's cool because people remember is casino got hacked through a fish tank. A couple of people got hacked to a HVAC unit. So all of those things we must protect. Yeah, a credit machine. So any software that hit our building, a junior person's gonna look at it, and I'm gonna review it at the end. If it's super complicated in the cloud, I'm gonna take it personally and look at it.
Yeah, that supply and that's another thing. That supply chain is a major vector too. So.
Hey, Gabe, stop hating on Stigs, man. Gabe, I'm gonna have to turn you around, Gabe. Man.
Hold on.
We need you on our side, Gabe. Don't be like that, man.
So you said, okay, what about unicorn people who land roles because of networking at DEF CON and getting into the right rooms? I think eventually they expose themselves. I mean,
I'm shaking my head. Go ahead.
No. So I know
what you mean. I'm gonna follow up. Go ahead. You got it.
So let me elaborate. So yeah, you have people who get in because of networking or because of who they know, and in certain situations they may actually stay there and be comfortable. But it's almost like I said, it's almost like people who have the certifications who come to find out they're only paper certified. So so it all depends on the job and, like I said, the integrity of the company.
Facts. My take on that is, and I learned this the hard way, especially at a big government site. 30% of people got there because they know somebody. 30% of people ain't gonna be doing stuff, so you just need to accept that. So there's certain people that's their uncles, because you got to remember a lot of stuff is military. So I met guys where their uncle was a 2-star general. They're cool. They're not gonna do any work. They just go sit there and get the bag. I can't worry about that. I got to worry about me and get my bag because my life is not like that. Some people are set up like that. Some people gonna have the connections where their daddy's this or their somebody's this, or that's cool. That's just part of life, man. That's not me. I'm grinding. I'm in the mud. I'm getting it out the digital mud. I'm labbing every day. I'm calling Gabe. I'm calling Keep It Techie. I'm calling Alpha Cyber, trying to get new skills. That's just not me. That's just not you. Let's get it, man. You can't worry about that.
I think
certain people gonna have a silver spoon. Shout out to them. That's not me. Like, I got to get real skills for a real life. Because life's not going to be easy for me, and I accept that. And I'm old, player, and I've been doing it for a long time, and I accept it, man. I'm about that life. You done got me, that hyped up music in the back got me still going. I'm about that, man. Let's get it. Ain't nothing stopping me. It's all good. Can't nothing stop me, man. Those people going to have that. Don't let that stop you. Don't watch them. Just salute them and get on your grind, man.
I was gonna say, again, it goes back to always bet on yourself, right?
Yeah.
I can't worry about what the next person's doing. And it goes to your point that you said earlier about, guess what? Someone's always going to test you. Someone's always going to test you, gangster. Someone's always going to press you. And guess what? And if you get pressed and you get caught slipping, you get exposed.
I'll be crushing them.
So it's like, so yeah, I put up a post or I put up a blog article and they're like, oh, well, what makes you qualified to speak on it? Well, I speak on it because I know that and you start dropping the stats on them or whatever. It's like, Okay, so yeah, I get what you're saying. Oh, you know he know what he's talking about.
Right. They gonna try you, especially when you do. I got people that's white. Tell people don't mess with him. Don't even start him, and don't do it. Because once he gets you, I'm gonna embarrass you, player. If you're gonna start it, we're gonna start pulling cards. Let's pull them all, player. Let's start
Let's
pulling.
go.
You and your PhD. Let's pull them, man. I'm cool with it. I'm comfortable. Especially you talk about this 853 Stigs, CIS checks, purple team. Oh yeah, we can do this. We can do this all day. I'm about that life, man. Let's do it.
Let's do it. Yep.
So stay on your grind. Certain people gonna have a silver spoon. You ain't got it. Don't worry about it. Keep pressing, man. Life don't owe you nothing, and it ain't gonna give you nothing.
Yes. Like I said, you got some gems in here. So okay, so here we hold on. See, we still moving through it. Cyber Insight said, look up GSA rates, and you'll be shocked what the rates are.
I know what they are. I got offered a 14 and turned it down. I know what they are. I'm about that GSA life. I was 11 years at DOT. I might go back there in my old age so I can get a retirement. But that's the one I said right there. He's showing you a little bit behind the cover right there.
Yeah, that's that. But look at that. You that's triple. You tripling it.
That's what I'm saying. I was gonna say sharecropping, but I don't know if that's appropriate. I'm gonna leave that alone today, man. I'm gonna leave it alone. But the cool thing though is that from the imposter syndrome, it sounds crazy. An executive I work with, she was a CIO and she said this, and it kind of threw me off. She goes, I got offered a job and it was at $50 an hour. I don't know if I can live on that. I said, I ain't gonna say it. I said, hey, do you know that's $100,000 a year? She goes, yeah, that did sound elitist. I was like, but when you get in that life, that's what that money's like, man.
And I was gonna say, it's like, it's almost, you know how people be like, oh, when I get money, I'm never going to change. Yo, guess what? Whether you like it or not, whether you have any control over it, your life is going to change. You know why? Because certain and it does sound elitist, but certain doors
fly
open for you that you weren't even exposed to, or that you. It's almost like people who didn't know anything about investing, right?
Right.
And then they get into it, and now they're really into it. And now you start going to these conferences, or you start having these conversations, or joining these groups, and you're talking to people who are doing like day trading and are big time. Right. And you're like, you never would have been exposed to it if that door didn't open, if you weren't successful in what you were doing. So all those people who be like, you know, I get it. I'm a big advocate for never compromise your integrity, right? But it's not compromising your integrity if you want to live if you want to live better than, you know what I'm saying? Like you said, like you got it out the mud. No one's trying to go back there.
Right. Why you gonna stand above? But hey, let's get real. Let's talk about the bad side of that. You're gonna have haters. Your family gonna think you owe them something. People you think says you should teach them. I'm like, dude, I've been trying to tell you to go into IT for 15 years.
Man, look.
Right? So you're going to get some haters on that too.
Look. So you know how many people I tried to bring with me? Like I had a whole vision in my head that I was like, man, I'm going to have these friends with me. I'm going to have this one. We're going to train this. This one's going to be good at this. This one's going to be good at that. This one's going to do this. And when it came down to the grind, everybody was worried about doing other things. Everybody was worried about, I can just do this job. I still want to go to the club. I still want to do this. And I stayed in it, right? And now that it's like, they see, and this, some people see where I'm at as the end result.
Always.
And I'm still looking at it as, I still got ways to go. But they look at it and the end result and they go, man, why you ain't put me on? Why you ain't telling me? Do you remember when I gave you a bunch of books and say, yo, get these Microsoft books because sysadmin is the way to go?
Facts.
People were getting $75K in early 2000s or in 2008, 2009 during the recession. People were getting 75 to 100K as a sysadmin in certain spaces.
Facts. That's why I wanted to be a DBA when I was younger.
Okay, you know what I'm saying? So now you okay? So when you said that you didn't have time for that, or you know what, I'm not whatever, and I get it because in certain communities we were brought up thinking that we weren't smart enough for these jobs. But at what point? But at what point do you say I can't go off of what the last person said? I need to find out for myself, right?
Right.
And I already laid the groundwork for you. Half the reason why I still buy physical books is because when people come in and they have questions, I can hand them the book because especially if I know they don't got it, right?
I love physical books. Keep
So,
going. I love physical
I
books.
write my note. I write notes. I highlight. You know what I'm saying? For me, it just gives me that old school opening a book. For it registers better with me looking at a book than looking on a screen.
I got grease in my books. That's how I be bending them. Go
Yeah,
ahead. I
you know what
got
I'm saying?
hamburger grease in my books.
Yeah, you bacon grease, whatever. But what happens is when people come in and they get, man, how do I get to where you're at? I can literally go take this book for this certification. Granted, the certification may have changed, but the foundational knowledge is still there.
Right.
Just give me the book when you're done. Kalila talked about it where her group, the Tech Sec Chicks, in our interview, where she said what they're doing now with their books are like they have like a Security Plus book that was given to her. So she studied it, she took her notes, and then when she was done with it, she wrote some words of encouragement and handed it to the next person in her group that was looking at Security Plus. And now it's almost like a rite of passage. So now everybody gets the book, reads the book, and they write a letter of encouragement so that when the next person grabs the book, they open it, they get the encouragement, and now they read the book. So you have people who are literally sitting there going, man, I want to do this, I want to do that. And I'm like, cool. I'm literally giving you the game because I done hit the highs and the lows, the peaks and the valleys. Now I'm trying to show you, whether it's through these books, whether it's through my content or whatever. And then it's like, okay, but I don't want to do that. Like I literally had someone tell me they wanted to do what I do, but they don't want to read.
Hold on, you got to back it up though. I'm jumping in. I don't think, especially black men, we haven't made IT sexy yet, man. I think we still got that nerd type feel. You're not, okay, I'm going to start at the top. We're not a high value man. You ain't out there, getting the women. You ain't 6 foot tall with the six pack. But now my bag is big now. Like Cyber said, how we make that sexy? Because you tell a lot of dudes, my son, I've been trying, that ain't cool. I'm like, dude, you eat well. You see where you live with me. What are you talking about, man? It's not sexy. Right, so I think I think the women's figured it out. I think the black women are making that move, but there's a lot of black dudes still ain't figured that out. How you become a high value man? Like Kev Tech is skinny, man. He looking good over there. Keep it techy, looking hip hop with the hat. Gabe got the suit on. I'm just old and chunky, man. Do you want to be me? My bank account fat. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm getting carried away now. I'm gonna stop, but we need to get them there though. We got to figure out how to get it there with the high value man. Gabe,
representation does matter. And like I said, to my point, and it's funny you say that because again, the other side of it was, like I said, I always knew I was technically inclined,
right.
But when I got to high school, the one thing was there weren't any avenues for people like me,
Fact.
And B, that's not what the girls was checking for.
That's what I'm saying. How
you know what I'm saying?
But they checking now. If you wasn't married,
no. They now checking. I'm married.
But I'm like, hey, don't get me wrong. You can be married, but when you go to a nice restaurant, you got a nice car.
Oh yeah.
People, be starting to look a little different. When I go up in the club and I'm in VIP looking chunky and fat, everybody try to figure out who are you in VIP. I go out with the young boys every now and then because they know when I go, I'm going in VIP. I ain't hanging out in general, homie. I'm in VIP. So come with me so we can get drinks, so we can do it right, player.
And I see, but going back, and we're going back into circles, right? Back to my conversation about getting kids involved and representation matters, right?
I was gonna say that.
You if we pull up. Like, let's say we pull up in a nice car or whatever. Yeah, we don't make LeBron James money or nothing like that.
Right.
But if we pull up,
shout out to Kevin Samuels in the chat.
Hold on. if we pull up in something nice and we dress up in something nice and we looking good and we dress Gucci as Marcus J. Carey quoted Biggie, Gucci down to the socks, right? And the kids see that and they go, well, what do you do? Guess what? And I can say, I don't play sports.
Right.
I didn't compromise my integrity and do nothing stupid on the internet, or I'm not making a fool of myself showing my ass on the internet. And I'm doing it legally.
Right, but we don't do that. We don't do that as a group.
This is what we all need to do, right? Because this is what we all need to do.
The only people do that in it really is athletes and criminals. The drug dealers do that. Like you said, the IT guys, we need to suit up and say, hey, we fly too, but we don't do that. That's what we needed to showcase.
No, see, again, look, and this is I wish I'm listen, now's a good time to do it. Y'all need to support me on Buy Me a Coffee. Right? Support me on Buy Me a Coffee. And what I'm doing is I'm doing memberships, but it's kind of showing certain things, like, for example, this whiteboard of evil genius ideas I got going on. But these are some of the conversations. So you're actually getting some of these overtime conversations right now for free, because we just having fun and rocking with it.
So we cooking now. We
definitely are. But
shout out to Killing Scott. Bottles on me if I go to DEF CON. I'm gonna find you. Bottles on me if I go to DEF CON.
We need to figure that out. I need to get in contact.
I ain't never been because I'm usually blue team, but I'm gonna have to go.
Oh well, there's a whole village now.
Oh, I know. I need to break out, man. But too, that's me though. I'm kind of a recluse, man. That's why I got an IT, man.
Yeah. No,
that's in the 80s. You could sit in the cube and just pound out a lot of code and make a lot of money.
Yeah, now we gotta definitely link that up, and we should, and we need to chronicle it. We need to meet up in a neutral place and all hit DEF CON.
We need to get on your Instagram popping bottles on Instagram on Alpha Cyber's gram. I'm gonna be out there with them. I got loose swag. I got to get on them skinny suits going on, man.
So yeah, man. So okay, Recky Dog says, thoughts on a working balance between cybersecurity and business requirements?
Let me go on that first, man, because I deal with that. I'm actually going to do a video on that. That is a good question. And let's be real. When you're talking to business, I was talking to the CIO and the vice president of that is, right? They can overrule cybersecurity anytime they want to for a profit, right? So that's the give and take. So when you get to a certain level, you don't talk about vulnerabilities. You don't talk about CVEs. You talk about risk to a computer. Then they make a decision. Mm-hmm. So I was talking about risk computer today. This vulnerability is here. I think we got this mitigated control. I think we're good. These are the steps. But it's their risk, because if we get hacked, I'm not getting fined. They're going to get fined because they're the president of the business.
Yep.
Right. Even though I can say that's the biggest hole, blah, blah, blah. They can say we still going because we Facebook and we gonna make $1 billion, right? So that's the give and take. But make no mistake about it, the business makes the final decision. Because if we get fined, the president of the company, that goes up to him. That doesn't go to me, because I told him don't do it, and I'm gonna send him an email. These are your risks, so you need to make that decision, right? So, but I do, like Gabe said, is I enable business, I help business, I let them understand their risk, but it's the business decision to accept or deny that risk.
Three words and then 3 letters. Always document everything.
Facts.
CYA.
Oh, I told him to their face. I told my boss said to his face one time.
Yo, because they will always look out for what's best for business, and unfortunately, security isn't best for business, and it goes back to the age-old convenience versus security debate. Right. So for example, I've been in situations where I've said, these are literally the things that are keeping me up at night when I think about it. And I don't want to think about things after hours, because that's messing with my work-life balance.
Right.
But this is the list of things. Not only here's a list of things, here's a list of 3 options for each one that I think would help resolve it. Maybe not make it go away, but at least it's a start. And everything was, but the devs will get upset. Oh, it's going to mess with the pipeline. Oh, but they can't stop the sprint. Or you know what I'm saying? Right? Okay, cool. You agree to that? All right. Can you sign it? Can you sign that? Or here's the read receipt. Because now I did my job.
Facts.
I did my job by going out, going above and beyond, doing my own threat modeling and trying to figure out a solution for each of these issues that I found in my research.
Threat modeling is in this STIG, by the way. Threat modeling is in this STIG, by the way. Go ahead.
Right? So always document everything. CYA. So
let me jump in real quick. They know me at my business, so they already know. I'm gonna send them that, so they already know. They accept all the risks, so I don't even have to tell them. My boss says, "Yes, Hightower, send me the document. I know you told us everything we need to do."
Yeah,
because I'm telling them. Them is cool as alpha. I sleep well at night. I told you all the risk. You the big boy. You got the money. You gonna spend it or not? I'm going home and going to bed. I'm gonna go get me some Johnny Walker Blue or some XR Crown, and I'm gonna sleep well because I told you what you need to do. If you don't want to do it, that's on you. Unlike Devin, I'll sleep well at night, player. I gave you the risk. If you
no.
them,
let's not get it. Let's not get it twisted, confused, or misconstrued. It kept me up at night that first night.
Okay.
Once it's documented and you said I'm not rocking with it, all right, cool. I'm gonna go.
Okay, I'm trying to tell you, don't sleep well, but you told them they got the money.
Yeah.
So I'm helping you.
So root user says, do I have to learn a deep level of JavaScript to be a good web AppSec engineer? No. I'm not gonna say deep level, but know enough to know what you're doing.
Yes. The cool thing, if you get with the STIGs, the STIGs tell you in the JavaScript what you can do and what you cannot. Most time is I'm not letting anybody download a third party from the internet that I have not vetted. And that's what a lot of developers do. That's why I was calling them crybaby. Oh, this little widget makes me run, but I'm like, you just got from the internet. Did you vet that for security? Who vetted that? Do you know where you got it from? Did you pay support from that? So where did you get that piece of software from? I know it's a cute little widget that lets you do a pull down. But if you're not vetting and we don't own it, we're not going to use it. So you need to send it back, right? So that's Purple Team. So you should learn with JavaScript, Java, Perl. You should have a decent understanding of knowledge, right? Part of that is you should have your web server, app server, and database down, right? That's everything going behind the firewall. That's going to be your complete thing, how to do a complete application. JavaScript is just one part of an application. Right, so when you get into where you need to get it to get the bag, you need to understand how all that works together. Right, I use Angular, which is open JavaScript utility. And there's a lot of things out there that creates those widgets for you, right? But you need to vet them for security. But that's the cool thing now is you can generate code and get going. You don't have to write it from scratch like when I was in the 80s and doing RPG. There's a lot of stuff that generates code, C#, ASP. C++, there's a ton of code generators out there, but you need to understand and work how to test it. And like we just talked about, the OWASP top 15, 20 ain't changed in 20 years. Do your parameters, SQL injection, command injection, cross-site scripting, that stuff been the same for a decade.
Yeah, no, it is. So Business Technology Mentorship says someone chose digital violence today.
What does that mean? Does that mean?
No, we talking about it. Things getting spicy in the conversation.
Oh, I love it. Your chat's busy, man.
I see it. Yeah. Listen, y'all. Listen, y'all came back with it for having. I was actually concerned that being a few weeks off, I was going to mess up the momentum. I'm loving the conversation.
Your music got me hyped in the background. I was like, okay. I'm like Mike Tyson coming out in the prime. I was like, let's get going. Man.
Listen, man. Look, I was like, I had to come back with a bang, man. So, but let's see, Willie Beeman, what's going on? Willie Beeman, friend of the show, said shout out to Davin, Professor Black Ops, and everyone in the chat. Yes, let's see. Trillionaire 2021 says talk about fraud prevention and cyber forensics.
You want me to take it? I'll do that for a living. Forensics, I got to be careful. My current job is we look at forensics. So when you fill out certain paperwork, we go out to some vendors and we say, okay, does this person lived here? Where was this person last employed, right? So there's a lot of services out there to help you with fraud prevention for you to look up stuff. From a cyber forensics, since I teach it, I don't actually do that for a living. That's one thing too. I always talk to people, and if you do forensic, you might want to get liability insurance. I actually talked to an FBI investigator. he said at my level, he didn't think I was sued. I was at another site where they sued the president, the CISO, and the head of incident response because they got hacked and they got locked. So there was some liability in there. So when you start doing that, think about. I do have a umbrella policy if I do anything crazy up to $2 million. I don't think I need it, but I'm extra precautious like that because people sue you unnecessarily, and that's why D-Jax made a good point. He wants people to sign off because people have you in a trick bag before you know it.
Yeah.
So yeah, fraud is like I said, that's this whole industry that's out there. LexisNexis is probably the 800-pound gorilla. That's why they have a lot of information about you. So when web servers do stuff, they can go out LexisNexis and says, okay, this is this person's name, this is their social security number. Was that their last address 2 or 3 years ago? So you can actually go out there and check on fraud.
Trying to change. Okay, so admin A-Rob, what's up? Says trying to change that narrative. Hold on.
Trying.
Hold on. Person said in cyber says we need a men in cybersecurity calendar.
Oh, that ain't me. I'm trying to get my intermittent fasting going back on. I've been eating heavily in the pandemic. I've been eating good. I've been eating filet, top beef, Kobe beef during the pandemic. So there will be no calendars with Professor Ops on it. Shout out to the chat.
Willie Beeman called you the Kevin Samuels.
Shout out to the high value man. I just need to get 6 feet. I need to get 6 feet and 6-pack. That was 1988, but we'll talk about that later. Mm-hmm. Shout out to the manosphere.
Shoot, let's see. Oh, look, see, here go my wife with the eyes. I think that was probably in response to the men in cybersecurity camera calendar. So Business Tech Mentorship says Kevin Samuels was in tech, so I'm at Afrotech. Told me to lose the black tees. Hey, listen. But my black tee got a statement on it, though.
Well, that's like anything, though. Kevin Samuels said, like you said, he's the suit guy. In the 80s, I was wearing suits. I mean, and I obviously Gabe's in a suit. It depends on what industry you're in, what level you're in. And two is, as a consultant, a lot of times, most consultants I work with, because they actually practice managers, those guys are suited up.
Yeah.
So it just depends on where you're at in the industry. It's like anything. It's where it works for you.
I'm a big advocate of dress for the job you want, right?
Without a doubt.
Like I said, I got mine on today because it's definitely speaks volumes of what's going on.
We grind.
But let's see. Yep, we definitely make moves, not excuses. So Cyber Insight says table service for the win.
Always.
There's a whole conversation. Oh, look, we done started something. So Business Tech said we getting bottles at DEF CON. Kalila said we definitely popping bottles at DEF CON. Man,
might as well, man. Let's get a different perspective on IT.
You know what? Let's do it. Okay, look, we need to get off. When we get offline, there go that light bulb again. Man, great of us black IT folk over the last in person. Ms. Ignite in Orlando, the locals were like, who the hell are you? Nah, look, but it's true. Like you gotta go, we gotta make ourselves known like we here and we're not fitting your narrative. Like Admin A-Rob said, we gonna change the narrative. Exactly. That's why I proudly show who keep it tech. That's one of the things I respect that,
Shout out. I send everybody your way, man.
Unapologetically you. Matthew Park says, I stay suited and booted. My sons are principals and teachers. My son's principals and teachers ask, what does your dad do? No, you're right. But I think I do the same thing, right? So like I'll go when we first moved down here and we went to my kids' school and we both walked in, they kind of look like, oh, mom and dad.
Facts.
Right, that's a conversation right, and then what happened is then dad started coming by himself. Dad would pull up, right? That I have the reputation, not recommendation. I have the reputation that if a teacher calls me or a teacher says, "Hey, your child is what blah blah blah," okay, you don't need to schedule an appointment. I'm on the way. Right.
Facts.
And the assistant principal, like every year every year when we would do the orientation with the new teacher and we would meet with the principals, the assistant principal would go, listen, I'm gonna tell you something right now. I love Mr. and Mrs. Jackson because if you call them, they will show up. Even if you don't necessarily need them to show up at that moment, they will show up. The pull-up game is strong.
I got a quick story for you when you're done. That's crazy.
No, go ahead.
My son was about 10, so he was causing a little problem. So I go on a field trip. Next thing I know, I figured out they gave me all the bad kids in the class. But what they fail to realize is I grew up with all their fathers. So I grabbed one little kid by his elbow and I said, dude, we about to go in the bathroom. He said, well, who are you? I'm going to tell my daddy. I said, ain't your daddy named Billy Bang? He goes, I said, yeah, we grew up together. I'm about to call him. He goes, don't call my dad. So Tuesday after the field trip, they go, can you come to every field trip? I go, no, I have to work. But like you said, I'll pull up in a minute. Grandkids, I told them I'll pull up on them in a minute.
Oh,
after the pandemic, I'm being in class all the time. I'm being in class in Zoom meetings.
Yeah,
so I'm right there with you, but
for real, like put it this way, like when my kids get in good with other friends, I go meet their parents and I go, listen, I'm not put I don't put hands, I'm not an abuser or nothing like that, so you don't have to worry about that. But if your children are in my house or under my care, I'm gonna look at them as one of my own.
Facts. You got to sign a waiver when you leave your kids with me. But go ahead.
I have a certain level of expectation for my children, and anybody who my children are going to be around, I'm going to also have that same level of expectation. Furthermore, you know how I get down. So if you see my kid acting up in these streets, it take a village. I need you to pull up and say, hey, you need to stop. I need you to, before I call your father. And then a lot of people in the neighborhood, they're like, oh man, your kids are so respectful. How do you get them to do that? They have no choice.
Facts. And I'm still paddling from the 80s, player. I'm still paddling. So I'm still paddling from 1988. So you leave your kids with me, hey, they might get a paddling player.
They stay a waiver. They
so
have no confusion. Like, oh, your kids are so polite and respectful. Yeah. I know.
Make sure you don't miss anonymous question to me, man. He's confusing me.
I'm getting there. Hold on. Let's see.
No rush.
Okay, so speaking from 12 plus years in IT management across Africa, the lads were extremely popular with the ladies, professional, educated, and serious, long-term finance. But I think in other countries, that was looked at differently until recently, right?
Facts.
All these other countries, they looked at people in technology and cybersecurity as, oh, okay, right, and then we had what we saw on TV in the 80s and the 90s is these Poindexter, pocket protector, big glasses, Steve Urkel looking type folk. And yeah, they were smart. And then somewhere in the late 90s, early 2000s, it started to go, oh, remember that nerd in high school? Yeah, look at them now. They're owning the business, or they're doing this, or they're doing that. So we're just catching up, but we're still behind the ball with so many other things. So yeah, we definitely need to get more of it. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm jumping on that. But two is you got Zuckerberg and those guys billionaires now. So I think the white community kind of figured out, hey, that's a whole different. They making NBA. They paying NBAs. They buy NBA teams. We talk about Zuckerberg. So I think that they look at IT differently than I think the black community does.
Yeah. No, for real. Like I said, we're just catching. And I'm not trying to be funny or racial. It's just it is what it is. We're definitely catching up. We're behind the 8 ball, just like a lot of things. Just like with investing, just like with home ownership and buying land. Like we're catching. We're trying to catch up. So Kalila says, I'm flossing like I'm rich. Period.
Facts. Keep doing it. Facts.
Hey, Business Tech said, I got a suite at the Aria. Let's go. All black party at DEF CON. Don't threaten me with a good time. You don't come on my show and be speaking foolishness now. So okay, so Ty says, how can I get my own cybersecurity pen test company? I think you touched on it earlier. Get that umbrella insurance, and just start networking and putting yourself out there. You got to probably start small though.
Yeah, what I did is, and I stopped doing it because I've been burnt out. Is Upworks. I used to go to Upworks and make extra $20,000, $30,000 a year just doing side jobs. They have a ton of pen testing out there. That's pretty hot. They had a ton of NIST stuff because all those guys, once again, trying to get in a government contract. So those are a few things in Upworks. The cool thing about Upworks, though, is you bidding for work against with people around the world. Because I went out there because I was an Oracle programmer. Indians was doing that stuff in India for $15 an hour. I'm like, I don't open up my laptop for $15 an hour. I got to find something else to do. So that's when I kind of figured, okay, cybersecurity is a decent pay rate. But the cool thing is, and I tell my students to go out there, this is a global world. You're competing against with people around the globe, so you need to know what that looks like. So go out to Upworks and bid on stuff. Even if you don't win, you will see it. You'll get a feel for it. You'll get used to doing a prospectus, trying to figure out, okay, are you too high? Are you too low? Where does your skill set fit in with the people around the world who bid on these certain jobs?
Yep.
There's a ton of pen testing on Upwork. So you can go out there and try to get it, man.
There is, and like I said, you want to start small, you could, but like I said, but like you said,
people, because
them prices get real competitive, and by competitive I mean real low, like
real low.
I went on Upwork a while back looking for some side work, and I was like, I opened it, and as quick as I opened it, I closed it once I saw what people were bidding. I was like, wait,
you
what?
Like my Oracle? You like my Oracle stuff? I looked out there for Oracle. I'm like, oh yeah, I ain't doing Oracle.
Yeah, man. So Gabe says, I take the position that cybersecurity is a business enabler.
Oh, you're 100%, but it actually is an enabler because so many people are getting hacked, so many people are getting attacked. You can get fined, so it helps them. But the enable part is, like you said, what's your risk, and they're going to accept it or not. But you definitely enable business. Because now people are trying to figure out, okay, how not to get hacked. Somebody's getting hacked every day. If I get hacked, people are suing presidents and people down the line. So it's definitely an enabler. But a lot of times it's at the end, they're going to make the choice for that. I think they like cybersecurity, but when they want to push it aside because the developers are crying, the DBAs are saying it's too hard, they're going to push it to the back. And they're going to continue making that money. They're going to hopefully you will catch up. Like you said, and get those vulnerabilities, get those risks, getting those holes closed. But it ain't gonna stop the train. It's definitely not gonna stop that train.
Nah, look, I guess the marathon continues. So Calvin Boyle, shout out to Calvin, says, do you think IT guys are constantly reinvesting in their skill sets in business ventures, and that's why they don't flaunt much?
I think are mutually inclusive. You can do both of those.
Yeah, okay. I was gonna say, starting out the reinvesting, when you're trying to get to the bag, that reinvesting is real. Like I tell the story all the time. I took the flip mentality when I first got in my few certifications. Right, I got my job to agree to reimburse me.
Right.
So I paid for the first set of books and the first exam out of my own pocket, but then every time I passed, they reimbursed me. So I just took that money and doubled up. And I did that the first 3, 4, or 5 certifications. And then as I was doing that, and I'm getting little bonuses or little salary increases for getting more certifications, I'm saving the money that I made off of the raises. So now when I wanted to go do a boot camp, I had the $4,000 already saved to go do the boot camp, right? But again, once you get to a certain level, I think the reinvesting gets easier if you're fiscally responsible.
Oh, definitely, right? Definitely too.
So don't go start spending the money before you even get it, right? Like again, look at what people are doing with their income tax and stimulus. They out here buying Jordans and Yeezys and going out to the club, going to Miami, blowing their money, and they should be investing it into something else. It's the same concept. Okay, you got a raise, but if you were living off of this type of salary, then the raise is just extra money. Don't put yourself in any type of fiscal responsibility that ties up that money. So now you're building up this nest egg, or you're building up this extra money that you don't even need because you're still living off of. So let's say you found a way to live off of $25 an hour. So now when you get up to $30 an hour, keep moving like you were getting paid $25 an hour. You know what I'm saying? Yes,
that's hard.
It is hard. It is hard. It is hard, and it takes some discipline, right? It's hard, and it takes some discipline. And then there's going to get to a point where you upgrade enough where now you're going to have to move, right? But in that reinvesting phase that Calvin just asked about, that's, to me, I think that helps. When you get to the bag, You know, now you
Right.
have what you saved, you have this, your bills are paid, but the same mentality should don't live beyond your means, right? Let's not,
Right.
we're not trying to keep up with the Joneses. All right, so hold on.
Yeah. Let me jump in on that. Oh, go
Go
ahead.
ahead, go ahead, go ahead.
Yeah. The other part to that is as you get promoted, a lot of stuff, the company or your consulting firm is going to pay for you to get you training. So they're gonna bill more for your rate because you have more certifications, you have more skills, you have more things you can do for that consulting company, right? So that kind of goes in hand in hand. The higher you get up, they're like, okay, we're gonna send you to boot camp because we want you to get those skills so we can charge more. So they start going hand in hand once you get to a certain level, and they just
Mm-hmm.
start step stoning on each other.
Mm-hmm. Oh, hold on, Matthew Parks. Matthew Parks is another one that, like I said, I'm gonna start. He's a he's a friend of the show. I've seen him a couple times, but I'm gonna start listening to this man too. He says, Calvin, we can do both. I negotiate for my company to pay for the cert and professional development, and I check the time on my Movado. That's a flex.
Facts. I got that. That is true. That is true. But
That's
two is like you said, just don't overspend. And two is anytime you do, you need to treat yourself too. Don't grind out
oh
every
yeah,
now and then. Just say like, okay, I got it. I'm just gonna blow a little this week. I'm gonna go to the club. I'm a flex. I'm a high value man in or whatever you're gonna do, and just enjoy your life. Then
yeah,
then like you said, and go back to what you were doing and grind and just enjoy. Then after a while, you be at a certain level and it just flow, and you just
yeah.
do you.
All right, so we gonna wind it down, but let's get to the last few. So Trillionaire says, how do you guys feel about e-commerce and cryptocurrency? Everything will soon become digital. I don't know if y'all seen the robotic police dog, but yeah. Um, I do feel like more things are becoming digital, but I still think there's still going to be a lane for there's going to be a lane for automation, and there's still going to be a lane for some of the manual stuff. Like there's still going to be a lane for it. With the cryptocurrency stuff. um
I'm not a crypto guy. I'm
I'm
gonna let you have that.
like I said, with the cryptocurrency stuff, yeah, there's it it ebbs and flows, right?
Oh,
I
without a doubt.
I need to see a little bit more. I mean, and it looks like it's looking like it's starting to trend that way, but I need to see a little bit more stability before I'm willing to just
Go
say
all in.
this is the way. Don't get me wrong, I do got a little bit of investment in it because I'm like, all right, I need to make sure I keep my options open, but I don't know. I don't know if it's gonna be just a complete way of the future until very soon in the very near future. And as far as a robotic police dog, yeah, I seen some of the robotic stuff that they got going on. People are always going to try to do something and try to replace something.
I'm
That's
I'm much I'm much more dire than Alpha, so I'm gonna go. I'm gonna do a video. The pandemic actually pushed a lot of things to actually start going more robotics. They were talking about how they're using robotics to clean inside Walmart. Right. Two is automation, self-driving cars. I think if that lady wouldn't have got killed in Phoenix, I
mm,
think self-driving cars would be a lot further. So I believe artificial intelligence, machine learning, and robotics. If you Google that, that's supposed to take over the next 20 years. 40 million jobs are supposed to disappear. Where I live at, there's a Amazon's warehouse. 25% of that's ran by the Kiva robot, Google Kiva. It
mm,
looks like a Rumba vacuum. It has shelves on it, and it brings the shelves to the
yeah,
packer.
yeah,
Right. So I
seen that.
think those three things in the next 20 years, if you're not ready, you're gonna be taken out. Like people don't care about farmers. There used to be thousands of people farming. They got
Mhm.
robot trucks and them big combines. People didn't care about the steel mills, right? Thought that section got taken out. So I think there's gonna be whole sections gonna be taken out by technology. A friend of mine was doing radiology, and I said, "Dude, you cool with radiology?" He said, "No, I'm not. They have the radio tech take an X-ray of your machine. They send those prints to India. They actually marks on the machine. So when the doctor comes in the morning, they reading out those radiology scans from last night that India did the following night. So when they did, it's the morning now. So a
Mm,
lot of stuff people don't think gonna get taken out is gonna be taken out. Because
mm,
people don't realize is It's in steps. When you talk about the automated trucks, I was listening to a guy. He said the trucks aren't going to drive in the city. The truck's going to drive from the east and west coast. It's going to stop at the top of the highway. A driver's going to get it and drive it in the city. But you took out 90% of the money. Right? So I think that's what's slowly happening, and people don't realize it. And I think my other conspiracy is UBI, which stands for Universal Basic Income. If you can't work, they're going to make sure you don't ride or starve. So they're going to give you a basic salary so you to sit tight and not panic or go crazy. I think that's what the stimulus is testing right now. So y'all can Google that and double check on my seat. Again, they say his head is spinning.
No, because I remember the who was it? The mayor? Was it mayor or someone in California that
right? He was talking about UBI. People didn't get it because they about to put a lot of people out of work.
Mm-hmm.
So they just trying to figure out how that's gonna look. Because if you think, because I'm old enough,
I ain't put
right. People don't realize there used to be 50 people typing in a typing pool. The only people get a secretary now is the president. So all those people are gone, man. I used to see secretaries in every division in the 80s. They don't exist. So a lot of people get taken out and they're not even ready for it. And they're not looking to, like you said, investing in yourself to get ready for the next thing. They about to get taken out.
Everybody get on that cloud ASAP.
My 2 cents.
So Synac Finn says keep them tees, bro. No, Synac Finn says keep them tees. Thank you. And you can get them too on T Public.
The funny thing is I've been studying for my cloud security professional. I thought he was sending some network signals over. I was like, I said that. We've been going for a minute. I'm like, that must be a test.
Yeah. So, all right, we going. All right, we need to wrap it up. We getting on.
Keep going. That's on you, bro.
Man, I got eat. I
know your wife. I apologize to the queen. Till I didn't mean to keep you up so late.
So Anonymous says, question for Professor Blackops. Have you ever had questions but no answers? Have you ever wondered what the True Cloud's plans could be for you?
I already know what it is, Anonymous, man. The True Cloud plans is for me to be great, man. I don't have all the answers, but I'm trying to get them. I'm reaching out to Gabe, Techie, Alpha. It's out there for me. I just got to get it, man. I got a lot of questions. Sometimes I don't have answers, but they out there for me, man. I'm trying to get them. They're for me, man.
Yep. So, hold on. Let me see. Because I saw Calvin had asked this while he was like, the white paper, but.
I saw that. Go ahead.
No. That was for you. It was.
I know. I saw it. I remember that. I think that's what I said. Don't forget to highlight. We've been getting a lot of questions today. My guys,
what happened is y'all moving, the chat moving, so it's almost like I can't even. The overlay is pushing them down.
Shout out.
Calvin says, "IT parenting." Hello. Yep. It's the truth.
Nice. The cool thing is, IT gives you a lot of flexibilities to pull up on people. It's a professional thing, so there's a lot of things you get to do that regular people can't do. Especially with the pandemic, I easily work from home. I'm telling my boss I don't ever want to come back to the office, man.
Mm-hmm.
Then he asked me if I was going to write a white paper. That's what I thought I saw.
Yeah. I think I forgot it was a white paper. I think on the Stigs or which.
I thought it was on Zero Trust.
Or yeah. I think it was a Zero Trust white paper. But
I've been doing videos on that, and me and Cyber Center person, we're going to get together on my channel. We're going to talk about it. We're going to invite everybody. We're going to do a Zero Trust Cloud because I think that's the next big step. The government's moving that way, and once again, I'm gonna do it for on-prem and in AWS Cloud. So I am gonna do a video about that and focus on that.
Yep.
Kev Tech said he ain't going back to work ever again. He's saying here he working from home. I don't think I'm ever going back, man.
Listen, Ty said he gonna treat themselves to Micro Center.
Nah, man, tell them go get that Kobe beef, man. Tell them you gotta go get that Kobe beef, man. Those are, if you don't know, that's a cow that's been massaged and drinks beer, man. Get your game up, player. High value man. I'm getting that game up. We're going Kobe out here. High value man. Let's get it.
Willie Beeman said, "Is there any part-time SOC stuff on Upwork?" I don't think so.
I hate SOC reports. I think SOC reports is the biggest ripoff in the security industry. The reason why it's the biggest ripoff is the SOC is agreement between the client and the vendor. I look at SOC reports every time. Every time I review a SOC report, the vendor only looks at the good part of the client that the client wants them to review. So when I ask them about something else, it's never in a SOC report because the vendor's getting paid from the client and they never say anything bad about it in a SOC report. So I never look at the SOC report. I only look at system security plan. If you don't have a system security plan, you need to start making me one. Yep. If not, you're not going to do business with anybody I work with or ever had. I think the SOC report is the biggest ripoff. And they're mostly done by accountants half the time anyway. Shout out to SOC report. They robbing the industry. That's what I got for them. I want all the smoke. Come to my channel. I want all the smoke.
So, all right. So Synac Finn says, DJAX Alpha, cybersecurity is a constant reinvestment. We have to keep up on the daily. Always something new to learn. No, absolutely. Right. I'm not discounting the need to reinvest in yourself. Always bet on yourself, right? I'm not, and I talked about it earlier that treat yourself as the investment. What I'm saying is if you move right and follow the market right, that reinvestment gets easier because you get things like higher paying salaries, or you get companies that will pay you to get them or reimburse you to get them or pay for them out of their own pocket. So the reinvestment in yourself and into your career is a mandatory, because if the last thing you want to do is become obsolete and outdated with your skills, like it's the worst, because then it's almost like having to start all over again.
I'm chiming in, and it's really bad because if you look, when you become obsolete at 45 or 50, you might not be able to get back into that job again. Mm-hmm. The reason why is if somebody's younger than me and we got the same skill, I hire the hunger guy. Number one, he's going to make 40, 50% less than me. Number two is he got more energy. So two is, so unless you keep your skills up as you get older, you will be obsolete and get pushed out. And that's by design. It should be. It should be.
Yeah, absolutely.
It should be. And the other thing is, like we talked about, and both of us agreed, is every 10 years it gets harder to learn. So you got to focus even harder. I can learn a lot in my 20s. I'm 50 now. I'm like, ooh, I got to open up that book. Ooh, I got to step a little longer. Ooh, I'm hungry. I'm going to go get a filet. You know, it's different. You know, you got different struggles when you get older, man. Different struggles, man.
No, for real. No, absolutely. Like I just put that.
Hey, listen.
You better pay attention.
I like that, man.
You gotta pay attention. So, all right. So,
every day.
Yes, sir. So Matthew Park says, Professor, to your point about what you were talking about with the stuff getting automated, those are lower income jobs. Took my son to McDonald's to show him that they don't even have cashiers in there anymore, but they need people like us to keep the robotic cashier working. That was my point where I said I think there's going to be a lane as long as you keep yourself relevant. To that last point, what we were just talking about, if you keep yourself relevant and you keep your skills up to date, yeah, as stuff progress, so will you. So you need to stay on top of it. That's why we said,
hey, listen,
and get that cloud certification.
Right,
so,
but the only thing I'm gonna disagree with him in that, he's 100% right. But you got to remember is just very few cashiers gonna be able to switch over to robotics. So the cashier's gonna disappear, and the new people in robotics gonna take those jobs.
Oh yeah, but I mean, you see that.
No, you're right.
But I mean, yeah, that's what I'm like.
Right.
But you know what though? But here's
making that clear. I was trying to make that clear. Go ahead.
But here's what we want to do if we really want to keep these jobs. So, for example, like you see how the Walmarts are trying out where half the lanes are self checkout and the other half are people. I try to go to the people. You know what I'm saying? Because I feel like that people need them jobs. If the more all of that stuff is analytics, right? They're looking at the data. So if more people are going through the self checkout, then I'm just going to invest in another self-checkout aisle than hire a cashier.
I disagree. Right? I disagree. The reason I disagree with that is I think you're half right is, as the NBA is, if I'm getting a decent amount, I'm just going to take care of my cashiers and I'm going to force you to go there if you don't want to or not. I had somebody make me go. I was trying to go there. She dragged me. She's like, let me show you how to use it. I'm like, I'm smart enough to scan my whole grocery. But they're going to force you to go.
Right.
They're going to take them away.
But that's the thing. And I actually said that to somebody one time and I was like, I'm trying to do this for you. Right. But whatever. That's a conversation. That's a conversation for another day. Chad B says, I missed that. Treat yourself as what was that? Treat yourself.
Hey, listen.
It's a new toy. I got it set up the other day. Treat yourself as the investment. So you just like how you invest in stocks or you invest in cryptocurrency or you invest in anything, every time you invest, you're paying attention to what the market's doing, right? You're paying attention to what how your cryptocurrency is doing, how your stock is doing. Treat yourself the same way. Treat yourself as the investment that you're investing in. So pay attention to the market. Keep yourself current. Do things that's going to always keep you like Professor said, a high value person. Because I'm not gonna generalize, but a high
generalizing. But go ahead. I'm
you know
generalizing. I'm
so
generalizing. The only reason I generalize is I think Kalia, Cyber Center Pressure, I think the females on the right track. I think we leaving the little boys behind, man.
no,
I mean, because think about it. Because shout out to the women. Because Goldman Sachs just gave $10 million to black women. Shout out to them. Google just gave them 1,000 intern positions.
And
Shout out
deserve
to
it.
them.
And deservedly so.
I'm not hating. I wish them. I hope they get them. But I'm worried about the little black boys.
Yeah. So he said, but I install and repair IBM POS systems on the side. Tech job security. No, like that. There you go.
Shout out to that.
There you go. There you go. Like I said, even as more things get automated, guess what? They're still going to break, and when they break, they can't fix themselves. Now, if they start to fix themselves and think for themselves, that's a whole other conversation, and then we're going to run into Terminator and Skynet, and that's another conspiracy theory for another day.
Can I jump on that? This is going to be the last conspiracy.
Go ahead.
If you Google GE, he's right. They're not fixing them, but what GE's figuring out is this type of component under this many revolutions, under this much temperature, is going to break at this time. So they're starting to pick it out. So before it actually breaks, they got a 99% chance to figure out before it breaks. They're just going to replace it with a new one.
Because it's almost like what they're doing at the nuclear plants with the centrifuges.
Right. That's what they're doing.
The ICS controls are monitoring.
Right. Right, it's the same thing. So the big for like airplanes and stuff, they start to get that data. That's where big data comes from. That's where all that stuff in that industry, SCADA, airplanes. Look at GE. So now they're like, we're not gonna fix it. We know when it's gonna break, so we're gonna just depreciate the value. So it's gonna be zero before it breaks, and you just get another one, and you good. You're gonna maximize your write-off and everything. So that's coming. I know I'm just gloom and doom today out there to everybody. Shout out to the gloom and doom team. That's me. So I think that's coming up because too is one of my students in my class said, I want to fix PCs. I'm like, why? I said, a PC is so cheap that as a company, I don't fix PCs. I'll donate and just buy another one.
That used to be. Yeah. Like I said, you about 10, 15 years too late.
Right. I said, dude, a PC is about $250 or $500. If I'm going to pay you $200, I'll just get another one.
That was the move. That was the move back during the recession in 2000, 2008, 2007, 2008. Man, I would go on. You know what I used to do? I would go on Facebook and I would scroll. Like this was a part of my job. It was my open source intelligence. I would go on Facebook and I would wait till people. When people got hacked or whatever, or their pages got whatever manipulated. I go on Facebook. As soon as I started to see certain things, I'm like, oh, they got hit. Hit them up on the side. Hey, looks like you got a bad virus on your computer. You need to pay me to. You should have me come out and come check it, and I'll do it cheaper than Best Buy. Like when I got laid off from Circuit City, that was what I did to keep my hands-on going, my hands-on experience going. All right, so we gonna end it with this one from Anonymous. My goal is to automate my biometric signature so that I can be merged as one with the true cloud and become part of Skynet as we get closer to the human-machine divergence.
Facts. I'm the Skynet guy. We being watched. Facts out to Anonymous.
Yes. All right. So, okay. All right. Hold on. Matthew Parks, because I got, he says personnel is the highest expense in business budget. If they can get rid of them, more profit. We need to direct our people into tech to be ready. If you stay ready, you don't have.
Preaching, man, but we got to make it like Cyber said.
Yes,
we got to make it sexy though, man. We got to show up in this little tight suit or something, man. We got to make it happen.
Hey, listen.
That's what I just listed. Like there was a lot of gems here. So all right, cool. So Dave says epic live salute to everyone. Kalila says this show was lit. CW InfoSec says, great stream, gentlemen. I'm just going to announce it now. I will be having CW InfoSec on my show in the coming week, so stay tuned for that. All right, so it has been a hell of a first show back. We done broke every record since I've been on.
Shout out to the chat.
I gotta thank my guest, Professor Black Ops. It's always a pleasure, always an honor. And listen, I'm gonna. If you guys haven't followed him yet, please go on his YouTube channel, follow him, have these conversations. With my ideas rolling, we gonna get you on a regular schedule, and I think we need to have more of these discussions more often. We need to include some friends in.
Facts.
So, Kev Tech, like, yeah, I'm thinking. I have a damn idea. so yeah. Now we're definitely gonna do this. Like we need to do this more often. We need to get more people in here. We need to get we need to get you in here. Like I said, we're gonna have that. We need to get offline and have that discussion about the education and InfoSec community. So, but like I said, sir, keep doing what you're doing. I know you say you're an old head in the game, but I respect you. I respect it. Keep sharing the knowledge, keep sharing the wisdom, keep getting the bag. Take care of them grandbabies.
Try.
Ladies and gentlemen, everybody watching, this has been another episode of InfoSec Unplugged. I have been your host, Davin Jackson. Thank you for welcoming me back with open arms. Well, like I said, it's been some trying times, but like I said, my pack, you're only as strong as your pack, and my pack is strong. So I salute to all of you. If you guys don't know or you're new here, you can follow me. You can make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, click the bell for notifications. InfoSec Unplugged is live every Thursday. I do other streams. I'm starting to do some try hack me stuff. I'm like Professor Black Ops with that, where it's kind of random. It's TBD. I'm trying to get up to a schedule. You can subscribe to my blog on alphacybersecurity.tech. Subscribe to that. So this way you'll also get the newsletters of when I'm going live and what my schedule is going to be. You can follow me on Twitter. I have to update this. You can follow me on Twitter. It's Twitter, DJax Alpha. So subscribe to the YouTube channel, Alpha Cybersecurity. Follow me on Twitch, which is DJax120. Follow me on Twitter, which is DJax_Alpha. Make sure you follow Professor Black Ops. Go search for that. And again, if you like what I'm doing and you want to support the show, you can buy me a coffee. I don't drink that much coffee. Well, actually, I take it back. I have been drinking quite a lot of coffee lately. But what I do is take that money and just kind of invest it back into the show. So I do things like the new lighting I have here. I'm probably going to upgrade this microphone, my little stream deck here. Well, actually, this was a gift from my wife. Shout out to my wife. I love the first lady of my life. And,
my apologies to her for keeping you up late tonight. Tell her my bad.
She out there doing her evil scientist thing with her custom cake creations. Shout out to her. Actually, you know what? And I'm gonna say this publicly. Congratulations to my wife. Yeah, she didn't win it, but she competed in a international cake baking competition, and she made the cut, and she made top 10. So I love you. I'm proud of you. Keep it going. This is just the start. So keep it pushing. I'm always in your corner. Always bet on yourself. And if you don't, I'm gonna bet on you anyway, because I love you to death. My pack, my tribe, my people. I love y'all. Y'all stay tuned for the next episode next week. And like I said, buy me a coffee, invest in the show, get that membership thing going. Professor Black Ops, thank you, old head. I appreciate you.
I appreciate for having me, man.
And y'all take it easy, and I will see y'all next week.